Imagine this, you are born into an extremely rich and powerful family. But your mother is nothing more than a lowly servant. The moment she gives birth to you, she dies. And from that moment on, your life turns into pure hell. Your stepmother, who pretends to be kind and noble in public, is in reality a cruel, venomous woman. She tortures you in every possible way. Hunger, beatings, humiliation, and the most terrifying thing of all. She wants you dead. You have many brothers, and every single one of them desires only one thing. The position of family head. And to claim that position, you must die. But the real twist begins here. A man from another world, the son of a powerful family, someone who has served 3 years in the military, someone who has seen real battle, whose hands are already stained with blood, transmigrates into your body. And this man is no hero. He is ruthless. Cold-blooded. A man who never hesitates before killing. Whether the enemy is a woman, or even a child. He has only one rule. Anyone who dares touch me will not live. And so begins a merciless revenge. One by one, everyone who tormented him, everyone who tried to kill him, everyone who mocked his mother's death. He destroys them in ways so brutal and terrifying that no one could ever imagine. And this is only the beginning. In the future, this man will become a demon king, a being who commands monstrous, bloodthirsty demonic servants, who spread his demonic cult across the world. Now think about it. How thrilling would it be to witness such a story? A main character who shows no mercy? A man who is not destined to become a god, but a devil. So guys, today's manhwa is based on this very dangerous story. Without any delay, let's jump straight into the story. Inside the jolting carriage, Chu Xiu rubbed his throbbing head and slowly lifted his gaze, scanning the unfamiliar surroundings with bleary eyes. The interior of the carriage was lavishly decorated. Precious swords and long, razor-sharp sabers hung along both sides of the walls. This kind of luxury stood in stark contrast to the desolate, barren scenery outside, giving Chu Xiu the eerie sensation that he had stepped into an entirely different world. In his previous life, Chu Xiu's existence had been far from miserable. He was born into wealth. Though his parents passed away early, they left behind an enormous fortune. His life consisted of nothing but indulgence and pleasure. He never had to worry about food or money, spending his days immersed in banquets, alcohol, and excess. His only true passion was reading wuxia novels. Truth be told, Chu Xiu wasn't afraid of death. He had already enjoyed enough glory and luxury, living freely without regrets, far more comfortably than those hardship-bound protagonists in novels. Compared to them, his life had been easy. In fact, Chu Xiu never wanted to become a spoiled playboy. But as the youngest son of the family, born of a concubine, he had no right to involve himself in the family's business affairs. All matters of commerce were handled by his elder brothers, leaving him completely sidelined. Recently, Chu Xiu had become obsessed with a game called Great Jianghu. Its storyline was vast and intricate, and the martial world it portrayed was astonishingly realistic, so realistic that it felt like a fully functional society. He found himself utterly immersed. While waiting for the third major update of Great Jianghu, he spared no expense to purchase a limited edition virtual reality headset. Who could have imagined that the moment he put it on, he would hear a voice? "My dear little brother, your existence has always been a hidden threat. So I sincerely hope you'll have fun in another world." Immediately after that, boom! The VR headset exploded. It blew him to pieces, killing him on the spot. And judging from the current situation, Chu Xiu finally realized he had transmigrated. The only thing he regretted was that his enormous fortune would inevitably fall into the hands of those vile relatives who had orchestrated his assassination. He had clearly presented himself as harmless, a useless wastrel. Yet he was still targeted and killed. Could it be that from the very beginning, his mistake was choosing not to fight for his inheritance? At that moment, memories belonging to this new body came flooding in. Chu Xiu felt a sharp pain stab into his chest. A savage, blood-red killing intent flashed through his eyes, and the aura surrounding him underwent a drastic transformation in an instant. He shook his head lightly. He had finished absorbing the memories of this body. One could even say their souls had completely fused. It turned out he had transmigrated into someone who was also named Chu Xiu, the second son of the Chu family in Kongno. This identity was equally tragic. He was born of a concubine. His mother had only been a servant, and died the moment he was born. Within the family, He held no status whatsoever and was constantly suppressed by his father's legal wife. The original Chu Xiu was weak-willed and reckless by nature. He offended an important guest of the family, and was severely punished, exiled to manage the Chu family's mine in a remote wasteland. The mine was a critical asset, controlling a massive source of income. However, being sent there was anything but a blessing. The miners were all exiled criminals and vicious outlaws. For an ordinary person to manage such a place was no different from walking straight into a tiger's den. There was little chance even bones would be left behind. In truth, Chu Xiu never wanted to go to the mine and wait for death. But he knew very well that he had no chance of competing for the family's inheritance. He was nothing more than a fallen son who had made a mistake. Who would care whether he lived or died? Originally, he was supposed to remain at the mining site for 3 years. However, recently the family had begun selecting an heir. Despite still being under punishment, Chu Xiu was summoned back. At this moment, Chu Xiu was already on his way back to the Chu family estate. He reached out and grasped the long saber hanging on the wall of the carriage, pulling it from its sheath. Clang! A crisp metallic sound rang out. The gleaming blade reflected the face of a handsome young man. Yet between his brows lingered an unsettling softness, almost effeminate. He didn't like this expression very much. But since things had already come to this, Chu Xiu could only accept his new appearance. Suddenly, Chu Xiu froze. The saber in his hand halted midair. He abruptly realized his true identity. In the storyline of Great Jianghu, when version 3 was released, version 2 had already come to an end, and the final boss of version 2 was none other than Demon Lord Chu Xiu. Demon Lord Chu Xiu was born as the second son of the Chu family in Kongo. After enduring countless injustices and tragedies within his family, his temperament twisted and warped, ultimately causing him to fall into the demonic path. According to the story introduction, Demon Lord Chu Xiu would later unify and command the Kunlun demonic sect. Under his command were the 4 great demon venerables. His reputation shook the entire martial world. Demonic might soared to the heavens. Although he disliked this soft and effeminate appearance, judging from his name, looks, and background, he was undeniably the very Chu Xiu, the ultimate villain from the game. Thinking of this, Chu Xiu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He had transmigrated into a future great demon overlord. But the problem was, since when did villains in games ever get a good ending? Was his fate destined to become nothing more than a stepping stone for the protagonist to trample on? Picking up the long saber once more, Chu Xiu lightly flicked the blade with his finger. A cold glint flashed through his eyes as he muttered to himself. Destined to fail, huh? Who can ever predict the twists of fate in this world? Heaven has given me another chance at life. Then even if gods or Buddhas stand in my way, I will kill them without mercy. Whoever wants me dead, I'll send them on their way first. At that moment, the carriage curtain was lifted. A beautiful maid with a graceful, alluring figure stepped inside. She feigned surprise and asked, "Young master, why have you drawn your blade?" Looking at the beautiful maid's flirtatious gaze, the corner of Chu Xiu's mouth curled into a meaningful smile. Her name was Qing Su, Chu Xiu's personal maid. But in truth, she was a spy planted by his eldest brother. On the surface, Qing Su appeared attentive and devoted. Yet in reality, she had never held this fallen young master in any regard, especially during the journey to the mine. She frequently used Chu Xiu's name to act arrogantly, deliberately provoking the exiled criminals. Her purpose was clear: to kill with a borrowed blade, pushing Chu Xiu straight toward his death. Looking at Qing Su, Chu Xiu bared his teeth in a smile. "A fine blade. I just drew it out to take a look." For some reason, when she saw Chu Xiu smile, Qing Su suddenly shivered. A chill ran straight down her spine. Still, she didn't think too much of it and put on a coquettish tone. "Young master, traveling like this is exhausting. I heard that the road ahead leads to Kong Mang Mountain. Why don't we stop there to rest? We could hunt some wild game and roast it." A dark glint flashed through Chu Xiu's eyes. He let out a faint chuckle. "Roasting wild game? I've heard that small paths to remote mountain regions often attract bandits." Qing Su quickly replied, "That's just a rumor. The Chu family's carriages have passed through here so many times, nothing ever happened. Besides," she lowered her voice, "this servant wants to find a place to bathe. The road is so dusty. It's itchy and uncomfortable." If this were the Ching Su of the past, acting spoiled, Chu Xiu would have agreed without the slightest suspicion. But now, Chu Xiu only stared at her coldly. The strange, ghostly smile still lingered at the corner of his lips, making Ching Su increasingly uneasy. She even had the urge to step back. Suddenly, Chu Xiu reached out and lightly pinched her cheek, lowering his voice. "Very well. I'll indulge you. Let's go eat some wild game." After that, Chu Xiu instructed Ching Su to arrange the servants as she always had before. With a casual wave of his hand, he signaled for her to leave. Ching Su was momentarily stunned. She felt that Chu Xiu was extremely unfamiliar today, as if he had become an entirely different person. But when she thought of the generous reward the first madam had promised if the task was completed, Ching Su quickly cast her doubts aside. Watching Ching Su's figure disappear, disdain surfaced in Chu Xiu's eyes. "Stupid woman. Inviting me into the mountains to eat wild game. There definitely wouldn't be any wild game in that forest. There would only be a deadly trap waiting for him." Chu Xiu knew this clearly, not because he was exceptionally clever, but because he already knew the plot. Even if the details differed from reality, the major events could not be wrong. Right here at Kangmang Mountain, an enormous opportunity was waiting for him. Reborn in this life, my true advantage isn't my future identity as a demon king. It's my familiarity with the game's storyline. At this moment, the story had only just begun. Stage 1. There were still nearly 20 years before the plot of version 3 would unfold. The official story was still far away, yet I already know every major and minor event that will occur in this world over the next 20 years. If I remember correctly. At this time, in Yuanao Town, a great opportunity is waiting for me. An opportunity that will change my destiny from this very moment. The story continued in Yuanao Town, an ancient yet bustling settlement where Chu Xiu searched for a fateful opportunity that could change his life forever. Traveling alongside him was his personal maid, Ching Su. To the young woman, this town was nothing special, nowhere near the splendor and prosperity of Tongchao Prefecture. She complained endlessly, clearly dissatisfied with the dusty streets and crude surroundings. Chu Xiu ignored her entirely. Instead, he curled his lips into a faint smile, his gaze locked onto a specific location ahead. He had found his true objective, the mystery box shop. Without hesitation, Chu Xiu strode toward the storefront. Ching Su followed behind, her brows furrowed, suspicion lingering in her eyes. Mystery boxes were a unique specialty of the great Jianghu world. Legend said that 10,000 years ago, this world suffered a terrifying heavenly tribulation. During that apocalyptic calamity, countless martial sects were wiped out overnight. Before disaster struck, masters of formation arts created items known as mystery boxes, containers designed to store treasures, cultivation manuals, weapons, and inheritances, ensuring they would survive even if their sects were annihilated. The materials and sizes of mystery boxes varied greatly. The better the material, the stronger the formation seals within, and the more precious the items hidden inside. After the heavenly tribulation, countless mystery boxes were scattered across the world and passed down through generations. However, because the methods of crafting them had long been lost, any mystery box would be completely destroyed once opened. Thus, they became limited edition blind boxes. Their allure was irresistible. Occasionally, someone would uncover a heaven-defying opportunity, or a peerless treasure. But more often than not, the box would be empty, or contain nothing but useless junk. Like gambling. Everything depended on luck. Carrying the knowledge of his previous life, Chu Xiu stepped into the mystery box shop without the slightest hesitation. He glanced around and noticed how deserted the place was. "Why is this the only mystery box shop in Yuanbao Town?" Chu Xiu asked calmly. "Yet there isn't a single customer?" The shopkeeper sighed and explained. "Even the cheapest mystery box costs 10 taels of silver. Ordinary townsfolk could never afford that." The moment he realized Chu Xiu might actually be a customer, the shopkeeper's eyes lit up. His tone changed instantly. "Of course, young master, that's different for someone like you," he said enthusiastically. "All these mystery boxes were excavated from the southern barbarian mountains. Their prices are extremely reasonable." Chu Xiu nodded slightly. "I've just arrived in this world," he thought. "What I need most right now is a powerful cultivation technique." Although this body came from the Chu family of Tongchao, the original owner had never been valued. With no resources and no guidance, he had remained stuck at the very bottom of martial cultivation. The path of martial cultivation began with 3 foundational realms. The first was the body-tempering realm, where one unblocked meridians and strengthened bones and muscles, gaining brute physical strength. 9 out of 10 martial artists in Jianghu never advanced beyond this stage. Above it were the blood condensation realm and the Shin intention realm. Only those who reached these levels could be considered true martial masters. Chu Xiu clearly remembered that in the game, around this exact period, a mere household servant had purchased an ordinary mystery box in Yuanbao town. Inside it, a supreme cultivation technique. That servant later rose to become a grand master, shaking the martial world. Chu Xiu was certain. This is my destined opportunity. Just then, the door burst open. A gorgeously dressed man with an arrogant, insolent expression strode in loudly. "Shopkeeper! Bring me 2 mystery boxes!" The shopkeeper recognized him immediately. Li Gang, a lackey of the Li family. Trying to be helpful, the shopkeeper advised him. "Li Gang, this is just gambling. Young Master Li values you highly right now. Save your money and bribe the steward instead. You might earn a promotion." Li Gang sneered. "Even as a steward, I'd still be a servant for life. I'd rather gamble. If I open a peerless divine art, I'll soar to the heavens in a single step." The shopkeeper sighed helplessly. Peerless divine arts aren't so easily obtained. Still, he handed Li Gang 2 mystery boxes. One was a purple crystal sphere. The other, a golden box. Just as Li Gang reached out, another hand blocked his way. "Wait," Chu Xiu said coldly. "I want to buy all the mystery boxes here." With the memories of a gamer, Chu Xiu instantly recognized Li Gang. This man was the exact household servant who, in the original storyline, would obtain the supreme opportunity in Yuanbao town. That meant the strongest cultivation technique was hidden inside one of those 2 boxes. Li Gang spun around in fury. "Young master! I was the one who chose them first." The shopkeeper froze, trapped between 2 people he couldn't afford to offend. Facing Li Gang's rage, Chu Xiu simply asked in a calm, chilling voice, "Now that I say I want everything, do you have objections?" Overwhelmed by Chu Xiu's imposing presence, Li Gang hurriedly tried to intimidate him. "Don't think you can bully me just because I'm a servant. I belong to the Li family, one of the 3 great families of Tongchao Prefecture." Chu Xiu laughed mockingly. "Didn't you just say you didn't want to spend your life as a servant?" He stepped forward slightly, his voice dripping with contempt. "And now, when things turn against you, you borrow the Li family's name to threaten others? How laughable. You're nothing but a servant." Chu Xiu continued coldly. "Yet you dare use the Li family to suppress me? How ignorant." Li Gang's eyes burned with rage. Chu Xiu casually raised his hand. Immediately, his attendants moved in. Li Gang's heart sank. With his mere body-tempering realm cultivation, there was no way he could fight them all. "Oh, let's talk," he stammered. "We can discuss this calmly." Chu Xiu sneered inwardly. So weak-willed. No wonder that after becoming a hegemon, he turned into a petty villain who committed every imaginable evil. "This time, you won't get that chance. Take everything," Chu Xiu ordered coldly. Under Qing Su's stunned gaze, and Li Gang's utter helplessness, every mystery box in the shop was swept clean. Watching them being carried away, Li Gang felt an unbearable pain in his chest. Beyond humiliation, it felt as if something irreplaceable had been stolen from him. He collapsed to his knees, staring at Chu Xiu's retreating figure, teeth grinding. "This isn't over," he swore. Back at his lodgings, Chu Xiu began the next phase. He knew from the game that certain treasures required a special trigger. He took out a small knife and let a single drop of blood fall onto the purple crystal sphere. The instant the blood touched it, boom! Violent purple energy erupted. Chu Xiu was blasted backward as the crystal activated. His guess was correct. The shell shattered, revealing a glowing green jade slip. A triumphant smile spread across Chu Xiu's face. This is it. As he absorbed the contents, a torrent of energy surged around him. This was a Taoist classic, an innate skill, a supreme cultivation method. It could cultivate innate true qi, cure all diseases, regulate deficiencies, and ensure one's true qi would never decay. No wonder Li Gang rose so high in the original story. Normal cultivation techniques were divided into 9 revolutions. The first 3 were trash, barely enough for small sections. The middle 3 were treasures capable of founding sections. The last 3 were exceedingly rare, possessed only by great sections. Above the 9th, 2 legendary realms. This innate skill ignored age, cleansed the body, and rebuilt foundations. Perfect for me. Confidence flooded Chu Xiu's heart. And to his surprise, the jade slip also contained a bonus martial art. Azure Dragon in the sleeve. The blade is hidden. The intent concealed. One strike. Like a dragon emerging from the sea. At least a second revolution technique. Unexpected joy. Then, crash. A thunderous noise erupted downstairs. Where is Chu Xiu? You dare steal from my Li family? Get out here! Li Tong had arrived. A massive man, 7 masterly, stormed in with his thugs, smashing furniture. Li Gang pointed upstairs. That's him. Chu Xiu appeared calmly, looking down at them. And if I refuse? He asked indifferently. Threats followed. Chu Xiu smiled. Then, power erupted. Green energy flooded the room. Pressure crushed down like a mountain. Azure Dragon in the sleeve, unleashed. A roaring dragon of energy manifested. Silence. Chu Xiu landed lightly, blade raised, eyes glowing purple. I hate being threatened the most. He looked around. Anyone else? Hidden behind the door, Qing Su witnessed Chu Xiu killing someone with her own eyes. Terror seized her heart instantly. She never would have imagined that the man rumored to be weak, timid, and cowardly would kill without the slightest hesitation. Blood splattered across the floor. Li Tong stared at Chu Xiu, his face drained of all color. Why you actually dare? Before he could finish his sentence, Chu Xiu had already yanked the dagger out of the guard's chest and charged straight toward him. Li Tong instinctively raised his arms to block. But how could he possibly stop Chu Xiu? Seeing the blade about to take his life, Li Tong's legs went weak. In that moment, he was certain. I'm going to die. Yet. The dagger stopped. Right at his throat. The cold, blood-stained blade pressed lightly against his neck. Recalling Chu Xiu's ruthlessness just moments earlier, Li Tong's legs began trembling uncontrollably. Chu Xiu looked at him coldly. Trash of your caliber, he said darkly. And you still dare come looking for trouble with me? You really don't know your limits. It's true. I, Chu Xiu, am not favored in the Chu family. I'm only the son of a concubine, but the head of the Chu family is still my father. And what are you? A worthless playboy. Mediocre martial talent. Living off family scraps. Who gave you the courage to bring people here and provoke me? He leaned closer, voice icy. Believe it or not. Even if I kill you right here, the worst I'll get is a light punishment. Li Tong shuddered violently, cold sweat soaking his clothes. Only now did he understand. The rumors were lies. This man was not weak. He was terrifying. Chu Xiu withdrew the dagger and calmly handed the hilt to Li Tong. Take it. Li Tong froze. I said. Chu Xiu repeated, eyes sharp. Take the dagger. Under that gaze, Li Tong trembled as he grabbed it. Suddenly, Chu Xiu seized Li Tong's wrist and forced the blade toward his own chest. His eyes turned bloodshot. Didn't you come here to cause me trouble? The dagger's in your hand now. I'll give you a chance. Kill me. The room fell into dead silence. Li Tong and his subordinates stood there in shock, unable to believe what they were seeing. Li Tong shook his head frantically. How could he dare? Chu Xiu could kill him and walk away. But if he killed Chu Xiu, his entire family would be wiped out. Seeing his hesitation, Chu Xiu tightened his grip, pressing the blade harder against his chest. I said, kill me. Clang. The dagger fell to the ground. Li Tong's hands trembled so violently he couldn't even hold it. I don't dare. I was wrong. A mocking smile appeared on Chu Xiu's face. He reached out and patted Li Tong's cheek. Useless trash. I gave you a chance, and you still didn't dare take it. You don't even dare kill someone while holding a blade. Who gave you the guts to provoke me? Li Tong felt shame and fury burn through him, but he didn't dare speak. He turned and fled toward the door in panic. Behind him, Qing Su trembled violently. Is this really the Chu Xiu I once knew? The Li family hurriedly carried the corpse away. Only after reaching the inn's main hall did Li Gang cautiously approach. Seventh Master. Before he could finish. Bang! Li Tong slammed a punch into his face. Damn it! Li Tong roared. This is all your fault, you idiot! You dragged me into this mess. Remember this, even if the third young master protects you, once I return to the Li family, I'll make sure you learn what real pain is. Night fell. The scene shifted to an ancient, time-worn structure bathed in moonlight. A towering mountain loomed in the distance, silent and oppressive. A man dressed in plain purple stepped forward and cupped his fists respectfully. Young master, may I ask why you summoned me so late? Chu Xiu studied him. This man was Gao Bai. He had entered the Chu family over 10 years ago. A nameless laborer. Average talent. Barely body-tempering realm. But he was honest, Chu Xiu asked coldly. Gao Bai, I was falsely accused and exiled to the southern mines. Because of me, you were dragged along. Do you resent me? Gao Bai immediately replied. Never. To serve the second young master is my honor. Chu Xiu pressed on. You've served the Chu family for over 10 years. 2 taels of silver a month. Others became stewards and managers. You truly feel no resentment? Gao Bai lowered his head. I am foolish and talentless. This is already enough. Chu Xiu laughed softly. No. You are not satisfied. Even a dog fed meat for 10 years would never want to eat scraps again. Humans are no different. He placed a hand on Gao Bai's shoulder. You followed me through hardship. In the future you'll share glory with me too. Gao Bai's eyes ignited. This subordinate understands. Chu Xiu shook his head. No. You don't. Some things are decided by fate. Others by effort. If I want to rise, I must wager my life. A sinister smile spread across his face. In the past, you didn't even have the chance to gamble. Now I'll give you one. Go to Fallen Degeneracy Mountain outside Yuanbao town. Deliver this letter to the bandit leader. Do it well. 100 taels of silver. From that day on, you'll be my trusted aide. Gao Bai struggled internally. If I refuse, my life will never change. Finally, he clenched his fists. I obey. Good. Chu Xiu handed him the sealed letter. No mistakes. As Gao Bai vanished into the darkness, Chu Xiu's eyes turned cold. Qing Su, since you want me dead, don't blame me for being ruthless. Early the next morning, Chu Xiu's convoy departed. Inside the carriage, Qing Su asked casually, Young master, where is Gao Bai? He went ahead to Tongqiao Prefecture to report our arrival. A vicious smile crept across Qing Su's face. Arriving soon? No. You won't arrive at all. Suddenly, Chu Xiu leaned close. Qing Su, he whispered, smiling strangely. Do you think we'll meet bandits on the road? Her heart skipped. Why, young master, don't say such unlucky things. Chu Xiu chuckled. The heavens bring storms. People bring calamity. At that moment. Stop right there! A wave of killing intent surged in. Chu Xiu looked out calmly. See? Human calamity has arrived. The convoy was blocked on a narrow forest path. Bandits. Their leader sat arrogantly on a tree branch. Qishan. Red hair. Scarred chest. Massive saber. What are you waiting for? He roared. Get down here! Chu Xiu stepped out unhurriedly. If you want silver, I have thousands of taels. Qishan sneered. Your life's worth more. What if I want that instead? Chu Xiu smiled faintly. Name your price. Qishan laughed cruelly. I keep my word. Hidden in the carriage, Qing Su smiled triumphantly. This time, you're dead. Chu Xiu's smile vanished. If I can't buy my life, I'll buy yours instead. He attacked. Qishan roared and swung. Metal clashed. Chu Xiu retreated, analyzing calmly. No inner energy. Pure brute force. He waited. Dodged. Endured. When Qishan lost control, the opening appeared. Emerald light erupted. Divine dragon sweeping its tail. The dagger flashed. Blood sprayed. The tide turned. Qishan was sent flying. His men panicked. How is this possible? Chu Xiu wiped his blade. What a pity, he muttered. Not enough practice. Enraged, Qishan roared. Kill them all! Just then, another voice rang out. You killing people, did you ask my permission? A man stepped forward grinning. Manhwa. Well, he laughed. Looks like a big deal. Mind if I take a share? Ching-su peeked out from the carriage window, her heart skipping a beat. Why is there another group of bandits? Did second concubine arrange even more people? Before she could think further, a second wave of bandits emerged from the road ahead, advancing aggressively. Chu Xiu narrowed his eyes as he looked toward them. Is that man also a bandit? The moment Qishan recognized the newcomer, his expression changed drastically. He clenched his teeth. Manhwa, Qishan growled. This is my turf. What the hell do you want? Manhwa laughed coldly. What do I want? To fuck you up, of course. You've snatched my business not once or twice. This time, I'm sending you straight to meet the King of Hell. Without wasting another second, Manhwa attacked. His sword flashed through the air like lightning. Qishan hurriedly raised his own blade to block, but it was useless. In the very next moment, clang! Qishan's sword was knocked cleanly into the air. A deep gash opened on his arm, blood spraying as he stumbled back in shock. He stared at his injured hand, his face turning pale. Bad luck. A wise man doesn't fight when the odds are against him. Run. Now! But it was already too late. Manhwa smiled like a demon. Too late. Qishan turned to flee. Swish. Manhwa's blade cut down mercilessly. Qishan's body split in two and collapsed to the ground. Dead. The moment his subordinates saw their boss killed, they panicked and tried to run. Manhwa coldly ordered, kill them all. As his men chased the fleeing bandits, Chu Xiu stood quietly at the back, observing everything. Judging by this yellow-faced man's moves, he's completely different from that unorthodox bandit leader. This man is a real martial artist, an orthodox one. Chu Xiu stepped forward and cupped his fists politely. Thank you for the help, good sir. Manhwa turned around, smiling faintly. Kid, aren't you afraid I'll double-cross you? At that moment, Chu Xiu's servant ran over in relief. Young master! Glad we made it. This is Chief Ma of Shangmang Mountain, whom you ordered this servant to find. Chu Xiu nodded calmly. Chief Ma is a smart man. Since you received my letter, you should already know. Killing me will get you, at most, a few thousand taels of silver. But if you don't kill me, you'll get that batch of refined ore I promised. You can replace all that scrapped copper and rotten iron your men are using. The choice should be obvious. Manhwa fell silent. Meanwhile, Chu Xiu thought coldly. Second concubine is vicious. She won't show mercy, even to an illegitimate son like me who barely has a chance to inherit. From the moment Ching-su suggested taking the small path, I knew. She bribed bandits, borrowing a knife to kill a man. If she can spend money to kill me, then I can use bandits to protect me. Manhwa finally spoke. You didn't lie to me? Those ores are extremely important to the Chu family. You're really willing to give them up? Chu Xiu replied indifferently. Someone in the Chu family wants me dead. Why should I care about their supplies? He took out a token. This is my warrant. Use it to purchase the ore at a low price. Be quick, while I'm still the steward. Manhwa laughed. You big families really love your dirty laundry. But you, kid, you're decisive. If there are deals like this in the future, come find me. I, Manhwa, am very efficient at killing. I'll even give you a discount for acquaintances. Satisfied, Manhwa left with his men. Chu Xiu watched from behind, eyes cold. Qilian, a bandit with martial arts heritage. I know who he is. Gao Bei got lucky. He actually hired someone with a background. Chu Xiu then looked toward the carriage. Inside, Ching-su was trembling violently, sweat pouring down her forehead. Why is it like this? Isn't Chu Xiu trash? How did he so easily seriously injure that bandit leader? Chu Xiu entered the carriage. The moment he stepped in, Ching-su collapsed to her knees, acting pitiful. Young master, were the bandits all repelled? Chu Xiu chuckled softly. Of course. They were all repelled. This slut is still pretending. He stepped closer, smiling faintly. I didn't die. You're very disappointed, aren't you? Why, young master is joking. Ching-su stammered. It's a good thing the bandits were repelled. How could this servant be disappointed? Snap. Chu Xiu grabbed her by the throat. His voice turned ice cold. Do you really take me for an idiot? Speak, how much silver did my good second mother spend to hire these bandits? Otherwise die. Jing-su couldn't breathe. Her face turned purple. I'll speak. I'll say everything. 10,000 taels of silver. Chu Xiu released her. 10,000 taels. What a generous hand. Does my second mother really hate me that much? Jing-su cried. Second concubine said you stubbornly supported eldest young master and would ruin things sooner or later. She also won over fourth young master recently, so she wanted to eliminate future trouble. Chu Xiu thought. Chu Zongguang has 3 wives and 4 sons. I'm an illegitimate son. My chance of inheriting is almost 0. In my past life, I chose the eldest son early, but was abandoned once I was no longer useful. This time, I won't repeat that mistake. I will fight for the position of Chu family heir. He looked down at Jing-su. Any evidence of second mother colluding with the bandits? She shook her head desperately. She sent a confidant directly. No evidence was left. She grabbed Chu Xiu's leg. Young master, I've said everything. Please spare my life. Chu Xiu smiled. Don't worry, I don't kill women. Jing-su felt relief. Scared me to death. Crack. Chu Xiu snapped her neck in one clean motion. I lied, he said coldly. You actually believe that? So naive, yet you still tried to be a spy. 7 days later. Wei Commandery. Tongzhou Prefecture. Chu family. Chu Xiu looked out from the carriage. Second concubine stepped out to greet him. Second concubine, daughter of Ding Kaishan, master of Kaishan Martial Arts Hall. Ruthless. Vicious. He stepped down quickly and greeted her warmly. Greetings, second mother. It's been a year, you've become even younger. Inside, second concubine was shocked. How did Chu Xiu come back alive? Did Jing-su fail? She asked sternly. Where is your maid, Jing-su? Chu Xiu sighed. Her body was too weak. I accidentally played her to death. Why doesn't second mother gift me another one? Second concubine's heart tightened. Jing-su died? Does he know, or not? This Chu Xiu feels different, she thought. Since you're back, she said coldly. Go in. The master and everyone are waiting. Inside the hall, Chu Zongguang sat on the throne. Chu Xiu bowed. Greetings, father. Uncles. First mother. Second mother. Third mother. Chu Zongguang opened one eye. You've returned. This is Chu Zongguang, Xiantian realm. Over 20 years without advancing a step, Chu Zongguang spoke calmly. The Chu family has been rooted in Tongzhou for over 20 years. The children have grown. It is time to decide the family heir. First wife immediately said. Why decide? Chu Kai is the legitimate eldest son and the strongest. Of course, he should inherit. Second concubine sneered. Big sister, that's not right. This isn't royalty. The master decides. Third wife lowered her head. This servant knows nothing. Whatever the master decides. Chu Zongguang slammed his hand. Enough. Chu Kai. Chu Xiu. Chu Xing. Chu Shang. You each manage part of the family business. 1 year. Whoever makes the greatest progress will become the Chu family heir. Do you all agree? After the declaration was made, the atmosphere in the Chu family's grand hall grew suffocatingly silent. Patriarch Chu Zongguang sat high above, his presence alone radiating unquestionable authority. Below him, the wives and children stood in silence, each secretly calculating their next move in the inevitable battle for succession. Chu Xiu observed everything with cold detachment. Though the so-called elders of the Chu family carried the title of seniority, in truth, they were nothing more than chess pieces. Not a single one of them dared to utter a word against Chu Zongguang's will. Absolute power still rested firmly in the hands of the man seated at the very top. On one side stood the first madam and her eldest son, Chu Kai. Both were arrogant by nature, disdainful of restraint, and had even dared to confront the patriarch head-on more than once. What they failed to realize was that such insolence only deepened Chu Zongguang's disgust toward them. The second madam posed an entirely different kind of threat, calculating, ruthless, and vicious in her methods. She had long coveted the position of heir for her own son. Unfortunately, Chu Shang was a man of brute courage with no talent for scheming, utterly incapable of concealing his ambitions. Among them all, the third madam was the most shrewd. On the surface, she appeared gentle and seemingly indifferent to power struggles. Yet it was precisely this carefully crafted facade of virtue that earned the patriarch's favor, allowing her son to become the most cherished child in the household. Having seen through the true intentions of every single person present, Chu Shu nevertheless found Chu Zongguang the most puzzling of all. Though the patriarch had loudly proclaimed the selection of a successor, his eyes remained cold and detached, as if he truly did not care about the final outcome. At that moment, the first madam spoke up in opposition. She argued that a martial aristocratic family like the Chu clan should choose its successor based on genuine strength. As she spoke, she turned toward Chu Shu with a mocking gaze and asked, "Chu Shu, don't you think what I'm saying makes sense?" Inwardly, the first madam calculated coldly. As long as Chu Shu sided with her and created a balance of power, even if the patriarch favored someone else, he would not be able to act too blatantly. This piece on the chessboard, she was determined to claim it. Yet to everyone's surprise, Chu Shu merely clasped his hands and bowed calmly toward Chu Zongguang. "Father must have his own reasons for doing this. This son has no objections." The moment those words fell, the atmosphere in the hall twisted strangely. The second madam stared in disbelief. How could the man she had secretly ordered assassinated stand here so calmly, as if nothing had ever happened? Meanwhile, the first madam burned with fury. This chess piece had dared to defy her will. Chu Kai finally lost his patience. He shouted that Chu Shu was weak and spineless, demanding to know whether he even understood what he was saying. He gave him one last chance to state his true thoughts. What Chu Kai did not know was that behind that obedient exterior lurked a monster, silently waiting for the moment to erupt. Chu Shu responded softly, merely reminding his elder brother that he was only following their father's wishes. With a thunderous slam of his palm, Chu Zongguang ended the pointless quarrel. The decision had already been made. Anyone who dared oppose it would be openly challenging the patriarch's authority. Under the crushing weight of his fury, the entire hall fell into absolute silence. But Chu Shu was not finished. With an air of indifference, he calmly proposed that the patriarch grant him additional business assets to manage. He reasoned that the Nanshan mine was far too insignificant for him to earn merit or properly demonstrate his capabilities in front of everyone present. Chu Zongguang narrowed his eyes suspiciously. The son who had remained silent for so many years had finally begun to reveal his ambition. That piercing gaze seemed intent on seeing straight through Chu Shu's thoughts. The wives were all stunned. So the display of weakness earlier had merely been an act. His true objective was to insert himself directly into the core industries of the Chu family. At that moment, Steward Lu spoke up with thinly veiled ridicule. He accused Chu Shu of overstepping his bounds and sneered that all he needed to do was properly manage that single mine. For a mere servant to openly humiliate a young master in the Grand Hall, this alone was proof of just how low Chu Shu's status had once been within the family. Yet Chu Shu did not grow angry. He simply raised a finger and lightly beckoned, signaling for Steward Lu to step closer. That calm expression concealed a chilling killing intent, one that no one present had yet noticed. Steward Lu maintained his arrogant expression. As he walked closer, he sneered provocatively, assuming that since he had been standing too far away, Chu Shu wanted him to come closer so he could hear those words more clearly. Crack! A dull, bone-shattering sound rang out. In the blink of an eye, Chu Shu unleashed a brutal strike. The steward never had time to react. Fresh blood sprayed violently across the grand hall. Moments ago, the domineering steward now lay collapsed on the floor, barely clinging to life. Chu Shu's terrifying speed and merciless precision froze everyone in place. Terror was etched across their faces. He did not stop there. With icy indifference, Chu Shu stomped down hard on the wretched man's body. This was not an act of impulse, it was a declaration. A new order was being established. Anyone who dared show him disrespect would pay a heavy price. From the wives to the brothers, the entire Chu family stared in disbelief, unable to accept what they had just witnessed. A deathly silence swallowed the grand hall. The second madam trembled uncontrollably, fear flooding her heart. She wondered whether Chu Shu had truly gone mad, or if this was the real monster that had been hiding in plain sight all along. With a furious slam of his palm, Chu Zongguang rose to his feet. Rage erupted like a violent storm as he roared, demanding to know what Chu Shu thought he was doing, daring to commit such ruthless violence in front of the patriarch and so many senior members of the clan. Chu Shu withdrew his hand and bowed calmly in apology. Yet his words were razor-sharp. He asserted that for a servant to interrupt his master's words was an act of extreme insolence, and that this punishment was merely a necessary measure to restore discipline and safeguard the dignity of the Chu family. Chu Shu looked down at the man crawling on the floor, his gaze devoid of even a trace of pity. In a cold voice, he added that if someone like this were at the Nanshan mine, he would have long since been discarded and used as a sky lantern. His father might be merciful, but to Chu Shu, a servant's disrespect was utterly unforgivable. Witnessing his son's brutality, yet undeniable logic, Chu Zongguang could not help but fall into contemplation. Deep down, he had to admit that Chu Shu was right. Regardless of whose man the steward was, he was still nothing more than a servant. His own prolonged seclusion had allowed these subordinates to forget their place and disregard the hierarchy within the household. Nevertheless, in order to preserve the family's public dignity, Chu Zongguang chose to close the matter. He reminded everyone that this was the Chu family estate, not the Nanshan mine, and ordered that Chu Shu be fined 3 months of his stipend to cover the steward's medical treatment, a light, symbolic punishment meant only as a warning. Chu Shu lowered his head and calmly accepted the order. But he did not stop there. With calculated composure, he posed a pointed question to his father. Was he truly expected to guard that remote mine forever? If so, what meaning did this grand gathering to choose a successor even hold for him? Chu Zongguang fell silent, stroking his chin thoughtfully. Though he had never intended to let Chu Shu inherit the family assets, standing before the entire clan, he understood that he could not treat a son who had just demonstrated such terrifying capability with blatant unfairness. The first madam, standing nearby, could no longer hide her agitation. She spoke sharply, accusing Chu Shu of openly assaulting someone in the grand hall as a direct challenge to the patriarch's authority, insisting that the matter could not simply be brushed aside. However, Chu Zongguang had already reached his decision. He roared back, asking whether she expected Chu Shu to pay with his life for the sake of a mere steward. Then he declared that once the merchant caravan from the Yan Kingdom returned, all managerial authority over it would be handed to Chu Shu. "Many thanks, father." Chu Shu clasped his hands in salute, a faint, meaningful smile flickering across his lips. He had achieved the first objective of his plan, to reclaim his standing and expand his influence within the Chu family. Inwardly, Chu Shu mocked the foolishness of the first madam and her son, Chu Kai. Born into a great clan, yet incapable of controlling their emotions, they always chose to clash head-on with Chu Zongguang. To him, a man so much older yet still scrambling to compete with his younger siblings for the position of heir was nothing more than a useless waste. The family meeting ended beneath a suffocating atmosphere. With a wave of his hand, Chu Zongguang dismissed everyone and stepped out of the grand hall. The second madam could not stop watching Chu Shu's retreating figure. She had once believed her greatest enemies were only the first madam and her son. Never had she imagined that the once useless son of a lowly concubine would now possess such terrifying ambition and presence. The scene shifted to the second madam's private residence, a luxurious compound shrouded in silence, where sinister schemes were discussed behind closed doors. Inside the room, Chu Shang could not hide his panic. He questioned his mother anxiously, asking why the assassins she had sent had failed, and how Chu Shu had managed to survive and return alive. The second madam admitted bitterly that she had been careless. She had never expected that after just 1 year at the Nanshan mine, Chu Shu would undergo such a drastic transformation. However, she quickly reassured her son. The Chu family, she insisted, would never allow a madman who dared to strike in front of the patriarch, someone like Chu Shu, to inherit the clan. Then she revealed her trump card. The managers within the merchant caravan assigned to Chu Shu were all her people. They would ensure that he tasted utter failure. A vicious smile spread across her face. With the enormous sums she had spent to buy loyalty, she was confident that even if Chu Shu held the title of caravan overseer, he would soon realize that he could not command a single subordinate. Meanwhile, Chu Shu led Gao Bei straight toward the clan's medicine pavilion, the most important source of cultivation resources for the Chu family's descendants. Along the way, Gao Bei voiced his concern, asking whether the people in the pavilion would truly hand over the cultivation resources that had long been monopolized by the eldest young master. Chu Shu replied indifferently that those old rules would have to change, starting today. Upon entering the medicine pavilion, the fat steward, Steward Chu, greeted them with forced hospitality. With mocking courtesy, he referred to Chu Shu as a distinguished guest, remarking that the second young master had never set foot here before and asking what important matter had brought him today. Gao Bei immediately demanded that he hand over all cultivation resources allocated to Chu Shu over the past year. Hearing this, Steward Chu's expression changed instantly. He let out a scornful laugh, saying the second young master must be joking. Chu Shu's resources, he claimed, had always been collected by the eldest young master on his behalf. Why come demanding them now? His contempt was so blatant that he did not even attempt to hide it. Chu Shu's gaze hardened. He coldly asked who had given him permission to hand over Chu Shu's resources to someone else. When neither Chu Shu nor Chu Zhongguan had ever authorized such a thing, the fat steward remained stubborn, provoking him further and telling him to take the matter up with the eldest young master instead. Very good, Chu Shu said softly. Suddenly, his eyes glowed with a vivid crimson light, a clear sign that a violent storm was about to descend. His patience had been completely exhausted. Smack! A thunderous slap sent Steward Chu flying. But the one who struck was not Chu Shu. It was a breathless middle-aged man who had rushed in, the chief steward of the medicine pavilion, who had already witnessed Chu Shu's terrifying authority earlier and knew exactly what kind of monster now stood before him. The chief steward erupted in fury. He viciously berated his idiotic subordinate, cursing him for daring to spout nonsense in front of the second young master. He stomped down hard on the fat steward's body and glared at him coldly, demanding to know whether he still understood the hierarchy between superiors and subordinates. The fat man could only groan in agony. He could not comprehend why his superior had reacted so violently. He tried to open his mouth to explain himself, but the chief steward immediately shouted him into silence. In front of Chu Shu, the senior steward did not dare delay even a moment in disciplining his underling. He was desperate to earn the young master's forgiveness. Turning toward Chu Shu, the chief steward instantly changed his tone. With utmost respect, he begged Chu Shu to be magnanimous toward this ignorant lackey. He assured him that all cultivation resources had been properly stored and personally presented a bottle of top-grade blood-name pills as compensation. Chu Shu accepted the bottle coldly. His response was short and sharp. There will not be a next time. Only after watching Chu Shu and Gao Bei leave did the chief steward of the medicine pavilion finally dare to breathe again. The oppressive pressure from the second young master's terrifying presence had been overwhelming. Even a seasoned veteran like him was drenched in cold sweat. Finally, that monster is gone. The fat steward remained in shock. Clutching his burning cheek, he asked bitterly why the chief steward had struck him so harshly while treating that useless young master with such respect. The chief steward replied coldly that it had been for his own good, otherwise he would already be dead. He then revealed the truth. Just moments earlier, Chu Shu had beaten Steward Liu, one of the first madam's people, to the brink of death right in the middle of the grand hall. Upon hearing that even Steward Liu had nearly been beaten to death, the fat steward began trembling violently. His face drained of all color. The chief steward issued a stern warning. From this day forward, he must treat the second young master with more respect than any other young master in the estate. There was one thing he needed to carve into his bones. Chu Shu was no longer the weak and useless second young master of the past. Meanwhile, Chu Shu walked away with steady, confident strides. A faint, meaningful smile lingered on his lips as fear and reverence followed him wherever he went. With the cultivation resources reclaimed and his authority firmly established, the balance of power within the Chu family had officially begun to tilt, entirely according to his will. This part begins, and we see Chu Xiu's residence. Inside the room, Chu Xiu is sitting calmly in his chair, while his servant stands respectfully beside him. The servant speaks with admiration in his voice. Young master, you were truly imposing just now. Even the grand steward of the pharmacy was so polite to you. Chu Xiu replies indifferently, his tone cold and steady. That wasn't politeness. That was all. Evil cuts both ways. If you cannot be so kind that everyone respects you, then you must be so evil that everyone fears you. The servant scratches his head awkwardly and says, I understand. Chu Xiu glances at him and says flatly, "Of course you don't. Otherwise, you wouldn't have muddled along for so many years without even becoming a steward. Go find some wooden stakes and set them up in the courtyard. I want to practice my blade." After that, Chu Xiu's expression turns serious as he begins to think. The path of martial Dao is nothing more than talent, perseverance, opportunity, and comprehension. My talent is average. My comprehension is unknown. Opportunities require strength to seize. Therefore, for now, I can only put effort into perseverance. He continues calculating in his mind. 2 packs of Birki powder per month. The Grand Steward gave 30 packs. 3 blood condensation pills per year. He gave 10, and of high quality. He certainly knows how to handle matters. Birki powder is simple to concoct. It replenishes qi and strengthens the body, aiding cultivation. It is perfect for cultivating the Xiantian Gong. After that, Chu Xiu sits in his room and begins cultivating. As he circulates his energy, he thinks calmly. Taoist cultivation methods are moderate and peaceful. The more one cultivates, the more abundant one's energy becomes. In this aspect, it far surpasses other cultivation methods. An entire day passes while he remains immersed in cultivation. Finally, he slowly opens his eyes. A faint smile appears on his face. After a night of cultivation, the miraculous meridians run automatically, and the 8 veins are fully connected. My body already possesses the true qi of the Xiantian Gong. The results are not bad. Next is practicing the blade. He walks into the courtyard to train. Wooden stakes stand firmly planted all around. He thinks to himself, my current blue dragon inside the sleeve only has the blade form but lacks the blade intent. So I must practice the most basic blade swings repeatedly. Without hesitation, he draws his blade. In one swift motion, his sword flashes like lightning. Slash! In a single strike, every wooden stake standing in the courtyard is cut cleanly and falls to the ground at once. At that moment, his servant arrives, carrying tea. "Young master, I heard some news. The stewards leading the caravan that the master assigned to you are all the second concubine's people. They say that when the caravan returns, they intend to give you a display of severity to humble you." Chu Xiu calmly sheathes his sword. "Did the other side spread this matter so blatantly?" "Yes," the servant replies. "It was spread by one of the second concubine's maidservants." Chu Xiu's eyes turn cold as he thinks inwardly. That mother and son really don't take me seriously. What a pity, you all thought wrong. With me, people who do not listen are no different from dead people. He turns around and says, "Gao Bei, come with me to Shangmang Mountain tomorrow morning. We are going to find that bandit leader Manhwa." Hearing this, Gao Bei's face turns pale with fear, but Chu Xiu smiles faintly. "What are you afraid of? Bandits don't eat people. Moreover, he will become our greatest assistance." The next scene shifts to a meeting with the bandits. Chu Xiu sits calmly in a chair. Across from him stands the bandit leader, Chieftain Ma, surrounded by his men. Chu Xiu speaks first. "Chieftain Ma, the matter I wish to discuss with you is somewhat significant. Could you ask your men to withdraw?" Chieftain Ma waves his hand dismissively. "No need. These are brothers with whom I share life and death bonds. There is nothing to hide from them." Chu Xiu nods slightly. "Very well, then I will speak frankly. I want to talk to the person behind you. I know that you are not bandits." Chieftain Ma bursts into laughter. "What a joke! If Laozi doesn't look like a bandit with this appearance, what else could I be?" Chu Xiu's eyes sharpen. "You are giant bandits. The remnants of the northern land's 36 giant bandits." The moment those words leave his mouth, the entire group of bandits is shocked. Suddenly, Chieftain Ma attacks. His blade slashes down and splits the table in front of Chu Xiu into pieces, but Chu Xiu retreats at the perfect moment. Without hesitation, he draws a dagger and lunges toward Chieftain Ma's neck. Chieftain Ma steps back quickly, narrowly avoiding the strike. However, Chu Xiu advances another step, pressing the dagger firmly against Chieftain Ma's throat. In a cold, serious tone, he says, "Chieftain Ma, tell your men not to get agitated. If I truly wanted to make an issue of you, even if this place isn't governed by Northern Yan, once a wanted order came down, you would have been dealt with long ago." Chieftain Ma grits his teeth. "How did you know our background?" Chu Xiu replies calmly. "I guessed. Chieftain Ma's kung fu is orthodox, and your troops' discipline is strict. Added to that, you mentioned the word Chilean. Therefore, aside from the Chilean iron cavalry among the northern land's 36 giant bandits, I really cannot think of anything else. Chieftain Ma curses under his breath. Damn it! Turns out it was Lousy who didn't watch his mouth. But in Chu Xiu's mind, he thinks further. However, what truly allowed me to confirm their identity was the original plot. Decades ago, Northern Yan was in great chaos. The 36 giant bandits emerged out of nowhere, daring even to plunder the Northern Yan imperial court. But later, Northern Yan rose again and joined forces with a major martial arts sect, Extreme North Floating Snows City, to crush the 36 giant bandits in one fell swoop. The various leaders were either killed or crippled, never to become a significant force again. In the original plot, there was news that remnants of the Northern Land's 36 giant bandits appeared in Wei Commandery, and now, that plot has begun to move under his control. Slowly, Chu Xiu withdraws the dagger from Chieftain Ma's throat and says calmly, Now Chieftain Ma should understand my sincerity, right? Chieftain Ma narrows his eyes and replies, What exactly do you want to trade with my boss? Telling me first is the same. Chu Xiu answers without hesitation. I know the whereabouts of your Chilean Iron Cavalry's great chieftain, the red-faced heavenly king, Pang Hu. Is that information enough to trade? The moment he hears this, Chieftain Ma's expression changes. You really know the great chieftain's whereabouts? You aren't lying to me? Chu Xiu says steadily. Once you see the one behind you, the truth will naturally be revealed. Besides, once we are there, I wouldn't dare to lie. Hearing this, Chieftain Ma turns to leave. Before walking out, he says, Fine. Then follow me. My boss is in North Shangmeng Mountain. It will take a few days to get there. A few days pass. We arrive at North Shangmeng Mountain. Chu Xiu has come to meet Chieftain Ma's superior. As they walk, Chieftain Ma explains, After coming to Wei Commandery, my boss established a mountain stronghold here. Just in case, we built a small stronghold outside. Wait here a moment. I will go report. Good. Chu Xiu replies calmly. Just then, another man enters. He is tall, broad-shouldered, and powerfully built. Chieftain Ma introduces him. This is Boss Han Bao. Formerly one of the great chieftain's personal guards. Han Bao stares at Chu Xiu sharply. Is it you who says you know the great chieftain's whereabouts? Correct. Chu Xiu answers. At the same time, he thinks inwardly, peak blood condensation realm. This person is much stronger than me. Han Bao snorts. Cut the crap. Speak, what exactly do you want? If you demand an exorbitant price, don't blame me for getting rough. Chu Xiu remains composed. This news was intended as a greeting gift for Boss Han anyway. According to what I know, after Great Chieftain Pang, who was heavily injured by the people of the Northern Yan Imperial Court, he is currently recovering his strength in the desolate mountains of Liaodong Commandery in the north. Han Bao's eyes sharpen. Is that true? If Boss Han doesn't believe it, you can send someone to Broken Soul Valley in Liaodong Commandery to check. There are secret codes left by Great Chieftain Pang. Inside, Chu Xiu thinks, I didn't expect these small details from the game settings to become such a big help. Han Bao gestures. Sit. I will send someone. If we can truly find the Great Chieftain, I, Han Bao, will owe you this favor. Now speak, what do you want? Chu Xiu asks calmly. After finding Great Chieftain Pang Hu, what does Boss Han plan to do? Han Bao sits back in his chair and says confidently. Naturally, I will take the men of the stronghold to seek refuge with the Great Chieftain. Chu Xiu also sits down and shakes his head slightly. That is incorrect. Great Chieftain Pang is currently resting and recuperating. Going to him now would not only be useless, but it would also increase the risk of exposure. He wouldn't allow you to follow him either. What you should do is accumulate money, provisions, and cultivation resources to prepare for his rise. Han Bao replies, Those matters will be decided once the Great Chieftain is found. Speak clearly, what is your intention? Chu Xiu says directly, I want to cooperate with you to make money. Han Bao raises an eyebrow. Such a good thing? Explain it in detail. Chu Xiu begins calmly. There are many bandits in Shangmeng Mountain who frequently rob caravans and kill for money. Because of this, more and more caravans are switching to the time-consuming main roads or arranging large numbers of guards. Your business is becoming scarcer, right? Han Bao nods. Correct. So what should be done? Chu Xiu's eyes gleam. Nothing can be accomplished without rules. If there are no rules, we will set the rules. As long as caravans hand over a portion of their wealth, they can be escorted safely across the mountain. This way, both the caravans and Boss Han benefit. Han Bao crosses his arms tightly. Then wouldn't I be making enemies of all the bandits in Shangmeng Mountain? Chu Xiu smiles faintly. One voice in the entire Shangmeng Mountain is enough. Does Boss Han lack the confidence to deal with those disorganized mobs? Han Bao suddenly laughs. Of course I have it. If not for my injuries remaining unhealed, I would have resolved that bunch of trash long ago. Chu Xiu is slightly surprised. Unexpectedly, this guy was actually a Xiantian expert before. I misjudged him, Han Bao then asks. By the way, Chu Xiu kid, you gave me such a good idea. What exactly do you want? Very simple, Chu Xiu replies. I also have a caravan in the Chu family. I hope it can enter and exit Shangmeng Mountain without obstruction. Additionally, I hope Boss Han can help me kill people. Han Bao grins. The first condition is no problem. But for the second one, wanting me, Han Bao, to act as a hired thug, just this piece of news isn't enough. Chu Xiu nods calmly. Of course. What I can give Boss Han is more than just this. I will inform you in advance about passing caravans. This way, you won't have to worry about wasted trips. Han Bao laughs loudly. That does sound pretty good. Chu Xiu adds casually. By the way, I will soon transmit news of a Chu family caravan to you, Boss Han. Consider it a greeting gift. Han Bao's expression changes. Rob your own caravan? What is the meaning of this? Chu Xiu's lips curl slightly. That is the Chu family's caravan, not my caravan. Hearing Chu Xiu's words, Han Bao breaks into a satisfied smile. Good. At the same time, he cannot help thinking to himself, when it comes to viciousness, we really can't compare to these disciples of aristocratic families. They are actually so ruthless even to their own people. Chu Xiu stands up calmly. Pleasure doing business. If there's news, I will send a carrier pigeon to you. The scene shifts. Outside Chu Xiu's residence, a carriage is being loaded with goods. Boxes and crates are packed tightly as servants move quickly. Everyone looks sharp. The merchant caravan is about to set off. Just then, Chu Xiu appears and shouts coldly. Who told you to go? A man immediately steps forward and bows. This servant is Zhang Quan, the caravan steward. Greetings, second young master. Chu Xiu looks at him indifferently. Who is in charge of this caravan right now? Zhang Quan answers respectfully. Of course, it is under your charge, second young master. Since it is under my charge, Chu Xiu continues calmly. Then who allowed you to load the cargo and set off just now? How much silver did the last batch of goods sell for? What was brought back? What is being transported in this batch? Have you ever discussed any of this with me? Zhang Quan lowers his head slightly. Second young master, please forgive me. Because you were not present, I asked for instructions from the family head before acting. Time waits for no one. Rest assured, second young master, there will absolutely be no problems with this trip. If there are any mistakes, I am at your disposal. Chu Xiu walks closer and places a hand lightly on Zhang Quan's shoulder. Steward Zhang, was it? You've done very well. I just hope you won't regret it, Zhang Quan immediately replies. Thank you for the praise, second young master. Working for the Chu family, this servant will never regret it. But inwardly, he scoffs, I've gone back and forth with the caravan countless times. What problem could there be? What is there to regret? As Chu Xiu steps aside, he says calmly, Then I wish you good luck. The caravan sets off. Chu Xiu remains standing there, watching quietly as it disappears into the distance. Then he turns to his servant. Notify Han Bao and his men of the caravan's route and schedule. Yes, the servant answers. On the road, Zhang Quan leads the caravan forward. One of the servants riding beside him whispers, Old Zhang, you've offended the second young master badly. I heard that after returning from the mining area, the second young master has changed. Zhang Quan snorts lightly. Of course I know. But don't forget, we are the third young master's people. The servant hesitates. Aren't you afraid the second young master will deal with us? Zhang Quan replies confidently. The Chu family is a great clan and must follow rules. We haven't broken any rules, so Chu Xiu can't touch us. The other servant frowned slightly. I just feel like this matter isn't that simple. Zhang Quan suddenly raises his voice. Everyone remember. If we really encounter bandits, drop the goods immediately. Lives are more important than anything. Everyone responds in agreement. Night falls. The caravan continues traveling. Zhang Quan says, walk a bit further. There's a decent-sized cave ahead. We'll rest there. But suddenly, from the shadows of the forest, figures emerge. Bandits surround them from all sides. A cold voice echoes in the night. No need to walk anymore. If you want to rest today, rest here to your heart's content. The moment Zhang Quan sees the bandits, his face turns pale. Bandits! Run! Everyone run! As soon as he shouts this, the servants jump down from the carriages and flee in panic, abandoning the goods to save their lives. But just as Zhang Quan turns to escape, a blade blocks his path. Chieftain Ma steps forward, sword raised before him. Steward Zhang, where do you think you're going? Seeing Chieftain Ma, Zhang Quan freezes in shock. You were prepared? Chieftain Ma smiles coldly. Zhang Quan, right? Young Master Chu Xiu asked me to pass you a message. His eyes gleam with killing intent. Steward Zhang, have a safe journey to the afterlife. At that moment, Zhang Quan understands everything. It was the second young master. Before he can react, Chieftain Ma attacks. His sword flashes through the darkness. Zhang Quan has no chance to defend himself. In the next instant, the blade slices cleanly across his throat. Blood sprays. Zhang Quan collapses to the ground, lifeless. Chieftain Ma withdraws his sword and orders calmly. Go. Open the cargo. Let's see what kind of greeting gift young Master Chu gave us. The scene shifts to the Chu family mansion. The second concubine's son is shouting urgently. The caravan has been robbed. All branches, please report to the council hall immediately to discuss matters. He turns to his mother and lowers his voice. Mother, do you think this matter has anything to do with Chu Xiu? Steward Zhang and the others just offended him, and then something happened. The second concubine frowns slightly. I don't know. Logically speaking, Chu Xiu shouldn't have the guts. Besides, he doesn't have the ability to hire the Shangmang Mountain bandits. Before we have evidence, don't speak carelessly. Otherwise, it will make the master unhappy. Her son nods. Yes, mother. They walk quickly toward the council hall. Inside, the family head is already seated at the head position. Several servants are reporting the situation. That is the situation. They killed everyone on sight. We don't know why either. The family head waves his sleeve lightly and says in a calm, detached tone. Since that's the case, dismissed. Take this as a lesson. Be more careful next time. I am going back into seclusion. Just as everyone prepares to leave, Chu Xiu suddenly stands up. Father, right now the caravan has no leader. I am willing to lead the caravan through Shangmang Mountain once again. The moment he says this, his stepmother and stepbrother stare at him in shock. Their mouths hang open, utterly stunned. The family head frowns. Caravan transport has always been the most dangerous task. Family disciples have never led the team before. What kind of trouble are you adding? You have no experience at all. Do you want to die? Chu Xiu answers steadily. Right now, the caravan is in a state of panic. If there isn't someone of sufficient weight to lead, it will be difficult to set off. Especially the pharmacy goods, they cannot be delayed. As a direct descendant of the Chu family, I should lead the charge and boost morale. I ask father for permission. The family head looks at him thoughtfully. I didn't expect Chu Xiu's awareness to be this high. However, the caravan indeed cannot be delayed. After a brief pause, he says, Then you go. Be careful. Chu Xiu bows slightly. Thank you for your concern, father. His stepbrother, however, thinks coldly, to actually snatch up this thankless and dangerous task. Is Chu Xiu's brain broken? The scene shifts. Under the moonlight, several servants stand in the courtyard whispering among themselves. One of them says bitterly, Can't blame them for pointing fingers at us. This time the goods weren't saved, and quite a few people died. Another servant shivers. Yeah, this time was too scary. Suddenly, the door swings open. Chu Xiu steps out and shouts sharply. Pack up, everyone. The caravan is setting off again, heading to the state of Yen. The servants freeze in shock. Second young master, one of them says nervously. We just had an incident. No matter what, we should rest for a period of time. Another quickly adds, yes. Let's think of a countermeasure before leaving. What if we enter the mountain and get robbed by bandits again? Hearing them, Chu Xiu thinks coldly, that cheap old dad really doesn't care about the Chu family's affairs. Look at how spoiled these servants have become, and he doesn't even manage them. He speaks firmly. Rest for a while? Think of a countermeasure? What a joke. The ones who died weren't you. You didn't even suffer a scratch. What are you resting for? The servants fall silent, but fear still lingers on their pale faces. Chu Xiu steps forward again, his voice sharper. Did you think staying silent would solve anything? In the Chu family business, caravan treatment is the best. 10 times that of general labor, even more. Since you are afraid of death and don't want to go, there are plenty of people who do. He calls out loudly. Gao Bei. From behind him, his servant answers immediately. This servant is here. A faint smile appears on Chu Xiu's lips. Go. Tell the general laborers. Those who dare to risk their lives may join the caravan. Monthly pay will be at least 10 taels. If they return smoothly, 0.5% of the profit will be their reward. As for these people, go find Steward Liu for reassignment. With that, Chu Xiu turns to leave. The servants panic instantly. Second young master. Just now I was blinded by foolishness. Please give me another chance. Another drops to his knees. Yes. We were wrong. But Chu Xiu does not turn back. There is only one opportunity. Those who want to stay follow me. Soon, under the cover of night, Chu Xiu and the caravan depart once more. They move through the dark forest. Suddenly, figures emerge ahead. Bandits block the road. A fat man steps forward and shouts. Little ones, come out! Business is here! Kill the people, leave the goods! These are Han Bao's subordinates, led by Feng Dao. The moment the servants see the bandits, their faces turn pale. Damn it! Again? One of them curses. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have stayed. Another mutters nervously. Yeah, I'm regretting it too. I just hope we can survive and make it back this time. But on Chu Xiu's face, there is a strange smile. In his heart, he thinks calmly, finally, it's showtime. This part begins with Chu Xiu saying to his servant Gao Bei. Gao Bei, get the fire oil. Prepare to light it. Gao Bei immediately obeys. He lights a torch and pulls down the curtain hanging on the carriage. Chu Xiu dismounts from his horse, steps forward, and faces the bandits directly. In a firm voice, he declares, Everyone, I will not let myself be slaughtered. If you dare to use force, I will burn the goods and fight to the death. Don't dream of getting anything. Hearing this, one servant looks confused and says, Huh, who would have thought the second young master actually had such a move? Another servant nervously adds, However, what if they decide to kill us even without the goods? At that moment, a fat bandit steps forward with a smile on his face and says, You're still a bit too tender to play this game with your grandpa. Do you really believe I would rather kill you all than take these goods? Chu Xiu stands calmly in front of him and replies, Why go through all this trouble? How about this? You and I compete in a duel. If I lose, I am at your disposal. If I win, you let us leave. How about it? The bandit bursts out laughing. A weak young master who can't even trust a chicken wants to fight me? Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. One frightened servant whispers. Only the eldest young master of the Chu family has reached the blood condensation realm. Can the second young master really do this? But in the very next moment, Chu Xiu suddenly charges forward and strikes first. His sword reaches the bandit's neck in an instant. The bandit quickly ducks, easily dodging the attack. Not bad, he says. He counterattacks, and their swords clash loudly. Chu Xiu blocks the strike steadily. Then the bandit presses forward with force from his legs, pushing Chu Xiu backward. The servants are stunned. Holy crap! The second young master is amazing! Yeah! I really didn't expect this. The second young master was truly hiding his light under a bushel. Suddenly, Chu Xiu launches a fierce counterattack and knocks the sword out of the bandit's hand. The blade falls to the ground with a clang. The bandit turns and looks at his fallen sword in shock. Then he turns as if to leave. Chu Xiu raises his hand slightly and says, You let me win. The fat bandit chuckles. Alright. You guys can go. I didn't expect a young master like you to actually have some skill. Your grandpa, underestimated the enemy. When the servants realize that Chu Xiu has defeated the powerful bandit, they become extremely excited. But then Chu Xiu calls out to the bandit respectfully. Hero, please wait. The bandit stops, slightly surprised. What else do you want, kid? Chu Xiu says calmly. I don't know how many more bandits lie ahead. Therefore, I would like to offer 1,000 taels to hire you, hero, to escort us through the mountain. Hearing this, the bandit grins widely. You kid, that's actually a pretty good idea. Interesting. I agree. The bandit and his men join them as escorts. The servants begin whispering among themselves. This actually seems pretty good. Why didn't we think of this before? Exactly. If we had taken the main road, it would have taken an extra month, and the cost would have been much higher than this. Another servant nods in admiration. This move by the second young master is absolutely brilliant. After that, the group safely reaches their destination. 10 days later, at the Chu family mansion, the family head is seated in the main hall while Old Chen stands before him, giving a full report. Just like that, Old Chen says respectfully. The second young master made a round trip from the Yen Kingdom in 10 days. The family head frowned slightly. This kid is too adventurous. What if the bandits hadn't responded to either soft or hard tactics? And what if that group of bandits didn't have the strength to escort them? Old Chen replies calmly. The second young master's luck is not bad. The bandits who robbed him were actually very strong. It is said that because of the second young master's incident, a new rule has been established. People can now hire escorts to pass through the mountain. Actually, all 4 young masters are very capable. If the family master were willing to give up researching that thing and personally teach them, the Chu family could definitely stand shoulder to shoulder with the Shen family. The family head's expression turns cold. Old Shen, do not speak nonsense. You know exactly what price I paid for that. I will absolutely not give up. Old Shen lowers his head and withdraws from the room. The scene shifts. In his courtyard, Chu Xiu is practicing his blade relentlessly. Sweat drips down his face as he swings again and again with fierce determination. Gao Bei stands nearby, holding a bowl of water. He watches Chu Xiu train and smiles faintly, thinking to himself. After the second young master returned from the Yen Kingdom, he has been practicing the blade desperately, forgetting to eat and sleep. He wasn't this kind of person before, was he? Meanwhile, Chu Xiu continues training, his thoughts cold and focused. In the original plot, after Chu Xiu experienced the family incident, he left Tongzhou Prefecture and entered the Jianghu, his temperament changing drastically. But I still don't know what this family incident is. Before that happens, I must step into the blood condensation realm. I need enough power to protect myself. Unbeknownst to him, someone is secretly watching from the shadows. It is his half-brother. He narrows his eyes and thinks bitterly. Chu Xiu suddenly rose up and took control of the caravan. Not only are the profits considerable, but he's also established prestige. If this continues, within a year, I will definitely lose. Just then, the second concubine enters the scene. Chu Sheng, what are you doing? She asks. Her son remains silent for a moment, then turns to her. Mother, the caravan cannot remain in Chu Xiu's hands. The second concubine sighs. You want that caravan? It's not that easy. The master will never hand it over to you. A faint smile slowly appears on Chu Sheng's face. I know father won't give it to me. But what if fourth brother wants it? Will he give it to fourth brother? The second concubine's eyes light up. That's right. The one the master dotes on most these days is Chu Xiu. That might actually work. I'll go try. A short while later, at the third wife's residence. The second concubine arrives for a visit. The third wife greets her warmly. Sister came to my place today? Why didn't you send word in advance? Her son steps forward politely. Greetings, second concubine. The second concubine smiles. We're just chatting. Why would I need to announce it in advance? By the way, Shang's shops are doing quite well, aren't they? The third wife replies modestly. Well, Shang's shops don't earn much silver. But Shang never planned to compete for the position of family master anyway, so this little income is just right. The second concubine waves her hand lightly. Sister has misunderstood. I know Xiong'er doesn't want to fight for the position of family master. But it's still better to have a business with larger returns. Both mother and son freeze slightly when they hear that. The third wife hesitates. But the Chu family only has so much business. The shops have already been distributed. Asking for more would seem ungrateful. The second concubine smiles cunningly. I'm not asking for more, we can simply swap. She leans forward slightly. Right now, the profits of Chu Xiu's caravan have more than doubled. Hearing this, Lin Qian's eyes shine with excitement. More than doubled? The next day, the family head summons Chu Xiu. Chu Xiu, he says calmly. Your caravan has developed very well during this period. Even if you cannot become the heir, you will definitely be a pillar of the Chu family. So between you brothers, you must be harmonious and help each other. Chu Xiu lowers his head slightly. What father says is correct. But inside, his eyes turn sharp. What does he mean by this? He knows clearly what the situation between us brothers is. Harmonious? We're just short of stabbing each other face to face. The family head continues. It's good that you can think this way. I want to give Chu Shang some experience. So I plan to swap your caravan with the shops under Chu Shang's name. Do you agree? Inside, Chu Xiu sneers. Hee, sure. When the caravan was dangerous, Chu Shang didn't go. Now that I've opened the trade route, only now are you letting him take over. This greedy behavior is really ugly. Chu Xiu glances at Lin Qian and says calmly, Since father has already made the decision, then fine. I will yield the caravan to fourth brother. The family head nods with satisfaction. I'm very glad that you are willing to agree. How about this? I'll give you another weapon shop. You are still young and lack experience. I will let Lin Qian go with you. Lin Qian immediately bows deeply. Thank you, father. Meanwhile, Chu Xiu thinks coldly. Lin Qian, one of the two strongest guest elders of the Chu family, at the blood condensation realm. This favoritism couldn't be more obvious. We are both sons. I'll just say, be careful. This gap isn't just a little bit. Lin Qian even turns to Chu Xiu. Thank you, second brother. Chu Xiu replies lightly. It's nothing. However, the trade route is rugged. Fourth brother, you'd better be careful. Inside, his thoughts turn colder. You asked for this. I hate it the most when people grab my things. The scene shifts to the caravan courtyard. Two men stand talking. Brother Lu, I heard the caravan will be under the fourth young master's management from now on. What do you think? Brother Lu sighs. Don't ask what shouldn't be asked. The second young master treats us well. But can we really go against the fourth young master? At that moment, Lin Qian walks in. Is everyone from the caravan here? Brother Lu turns and bows. Answering fourth young master, everyone is here. Good. Tell everyone to pack up. We depart tomorrow. Brother Lu hesitates. Fourth young master, we only returned yesterday. According to the rules, we rest 3 days before leaving again. Lin Qian frowns. Resting every time delays things too much. We could have made another trip to the Yen Kingdom. Listen to my orders, we depart tomorrow. Brother Lu tries again. But fourth young master, the trade route within Shangmeng Mountain is difficult. Without rest, we really can't endure it. The second young master always, shut up. Lin Qian snaps. The caravan is under my management now. And you managers stop working. I'll arrange new people. Brother Lu lowers his head, thinking bitterly, this fourth young master's way of doing things is far too domineering. The next day, Lin Qian's caravan prepares to set out. Before leaving, Lin Qian looks at Chu Xiu. Second brother, what are you going to do? Move to a restaurant to stay for a while. Chu Xiu answers calmly. Lin Qian smiles faintly. Second brother is really capable. I wonder, do you have any experience to pass on to me? Chu Xiu smiles back. The trade route is rugged. Be careful of those bandits. Once you leave Tongzhou Prefecture, the Chu family's name isn't very useful. Lin Qian snorts inwardly as he departs with the caravan. With Uncle Lin by my side, am I afraid of a few petty thieves? Behind him, Chu Xiu watches quietly. Then he turns to Gao Bei. Come with me to Shangmeng Mountain later. Gao Bei immediately lowers his head. Yes, second young master. The part begins at night as we see the Shangmeng Mountain camp. Inside the camp, Boss Han is speaking to Chu Xiu. Kid Chu Xiu, your idea wasn't bad at all. Now the entire North Shangmeng Mountain is my territory, and our profits have increased tenfold. Today we should have a good drink. We won't stop until we're completely drunk. But Chu Xiu calmly replies, There's no rush to drink, Boss Han. I came here this time because I need your help with a favor. Boss Han raises his eyebrows and says casually, Oh? Who do you want to rob and kill this time? Chu Xiu answers with a serious expression. My fourth brother. Chu Shang. Boss Han freezes in shock. His mouth remains wide open as he stares at Chu Xiu. In his mind he thinks, this Chu Xiu is truly ruthless. Twice already he has robbed and killed people from his own family, and this time the target is even his own biological brother. After a moment, Boss Han asks, Alright, just like last time? Kill the leader and leave the rest alive? Chu Xiu shakes his head. Kill all the leaders. This time there is also a blood condensation realm martial artist among them, so Boss Han will have to take action personally. Then he adds calmly, Of course, my fourth brother cannot be killed. After all, he is still my biological brother. Boss Han looks at him with disbelief and thinks, He's your biological brother, yet you still want me to rob and cripple him. Chu Xiu continues. However, he has made me, his older brother, very unhappy. So just cripple him. Boss Han sighs inwardly. You might as well kill him. In a martial Dao family, being crippled is worse than death. Chu Xiu then explains. Boss Han, my fourth brother is my father's most beloved son. If he dies, North Shangmeng Mountain will never have a peaceful day again. Boss Han's eyes suddenly turn red with pride as he replies. Kid Chu Xiu, I'm not trying to slander your Chu family, but with your father's meager strength, he's simply not worth mentioning. Once my injuries heal, I would even dare challenge Shen Bai, the head of the Shen family in Tongzhou Prefecture. Chu Xiu smiles faintly and says, Boss Han's injuries haven't fully healed yet. I think it's better not to cause unnecessary trouble. Then he adds, Besides, I would also like to invite Brother Ma and his subordinates to come to Tongzhou Prefecture and help me. Rest assured, the payment in silver will definitely be generous. However, inside his mind Chu Xiu thinks seriously. Right now I don't have anyone truly capable under my command. Gao Bei is loyal, but far too cowardly. Manhwa may look rough on the outside, but he's meticulous. He will definitely become a great helper. Boss Han thinks for a moment and asks, Aren't you afraid people will find out that you're colluding with bandits? Chu Xiu answers calmly. It doesn't matter. Brother Ma has only acted a few times in South Shangmeng Mountain. No one in Tongzhou Prefecture has seen him before. I'll recruit them gradually so it won't raise suspicion. Boss Han then turns to Manhwa and asks, What do you think? Manhwa smiles and replies, Of course, there's no problem. I've been idling in this stronghold all day to the point of getting rusty. This is a perfect chance to stretch my limbs. Boss Han then asks Chu Xiu, When do you plan to attack your brother's merchant caravan? Chu Xiu answers, Wait until their return journey. If they get robbed right after setting out, it would look too suspicious. Boss Han immediately stands up and laughs. In that case, I'll have someone prepare a banquet. Tonight we won't return until we're drunk. This time, Chu Xiu finally nods in agreement. The next morning. Early in the morning, Chu Xiu sets out, with Manhwa following behind him. The two of them travel through a forest path toward their destination. Suddenly, they run into a fat bandit in the forest. His name is Chief Feng. Chief Feng looks at Manhwa and asks, Manhwa, what are you dressed like that for? Manhwa replies, Young Master Chu needs some people on his side, so he hired us to help. Has your side not started business yet? Chief Feng answers, According to young Master Chu's intelligence, a Luo family merchant caravan will be returning from the state of Yen. But we arrived a little too early. Hearing this, Chu Xiu asks, Chief Feng, the Luo family you mentioned, is it the small Luo family from Shuangfeng town? Chief Feng nods. Yes, that's the one. The intelligence was provided by you, young Master Chu. Don't tell me you didn't know. Chu Xiu calmly replies, My subordinates collected the information. I didn't personally check each report. Then he adds, Chief Feng, I actually have another matter I'd like to ask your help with. Chief Feng immediately says respectfully, Young Master Chu, please go ahead. Chu Xiu explains, The Luo family currently has some items that have caught my interest. Please help me seize them. Of course, don't break the rules too much, just handle it tactfully. Chief Feng turns around and begins to leave while saying confidently, "Rest assured, young Master Chu. Just leave it to me." Seeing this, a faint smile appears on Chu Xiu's face. Inside his mind, he thinks, in the original plot, the Luo family obtained a batch of secret boxes from merchants of the state of Yin. No one expected that two extremely valuable treasures would actually be hidden inside those boxes. But the news eventually leaked, and the Luo family was wiped out by the combined forces of several surrounding families. Chu Xiu then smirks to himself. I guess this can be considered doing a good deed. After all, without those treasures, the Luo family will never face extermination. The scene then shifts to the Luo family merchant caravan. The servant leading the caravan shouts loudly, "Be quick about it. We'll rest once we get out of Shangmeng Mountain and pass through Tongzhou Prefecture." But just then, Chief Feng suddenly appears right in their path. With a grin on his face, he slowly walks toward them while holding his massive sword. The moment the caravan members realize that bandits are blocking the road, panic spreads among them. Soon, a man steps forward. He is the steward of the Luo family merchant caravan. The steward quickly approaches Chief Feng with a respectful smile and offers him a pouch filled with silver. "Heroes of Shangmeng Mountain, here is a 10% toll fee. Please take it and enjoy some drinks, heroes." But Chief Feng suddenly slaps the pouch away and smacks the steward across the face. "You think 10% is enough to dismiss us?" he roars angrily. "You made your grandfather here wait with his men all morning. Leave all the goods behind." The steward's face turns pale with fear. Standing in front of him is Chief Feng, holding a huge sword that looks terrifying. Chief Feng glares at him and asks coldly, "So, do you still have a problem with that?" Hearing those words, everyone in the caravan becomes terrified. In their panic, they abandon all the goods and run away. After they flee, Chu Xiu and Manhwa step out from behind the bushes. Chief Feng smiles as he looks at them. "Young Master Chu, whatever items have caught your eye, just take them." Chu Xiu points towards several secret boxes and says calmly, "Chief Feng, I only want these secret boxes. The remaining goods are all yours to deal with." As he says this, Chu Xiu smiles to himself and thinks, "I wonder what kind of good items I'll open this time." A short while later, the scene shifts to Chu Xiu's residence. Chu Xiu is sitting alone in his room, examining the items he obtained from the secret boxes. He picks up a book and studies it carefully. Then he murmurs to himself, "Not bad, to think I actually drew the Blood Blade Sutra." He continues thinking, if I remember correctly, in the original world this cultivation technique was ranked at the 3rd transformation level. It isn't considered top tier, but it's definitely not low either. Chu Xiu flips through the pages as a cold smile forms on his face. What a wicked and ruthless blade technique. The angles of its strikes are incredibly bizarre, making them almost impossible to defend against. Nearly every move is a killing strike. An extremely demonic cultivation technique, but it perfectly suits my taste. Then he looks at another item. Thousand Leaf Plume. He recalls its origin. A hidden weapon created by the Thousand Mechanisms sect, a hidden weapon sect that was second only to the Tang sect of Shu during the ancient Great Tribulation. In theory, it's a single-use hidden weapon capable of killing a Xiantian martial artist. Chu Xiu nods with satisfaction. A very good harvest. Then he mutters, "I'll start practicing the Blood Blade Sutra first." 10 days later. North Shangmeng Mountain. A merchant caravan is moving along the road, carrying a large amount of goods. Leading the caravan is Chu Shang. As he rides forward, a smug smile appears on his face. Hee. Suggesting to father that we swap merchant caravans with Chu Xiu this time turned out to be a huge profit. But suddenly, his smile disappears. Because Chief Feng has appeared in front of the caravan, blocking the road. It's clear that his plan is to rob Chu Shang's caravan. At that moment, one of the servants quickly steps forward. Nervously smiling, he takes out several papers and says, "Chief Feng, we already have the pass. Please let us go." Chief Feng takes the papers, glances at them briefly, and then snorts. "Only 400 taels? Why is it so little?" Then he waves his hand. "Boys, go search the caravan." His eyes glow with a faint red killing intent. The servant looks shocked and hurriedly says, "Chief Feng, our Chu family knows the rules. This toll fee will absolutely not be short." But Chief Feng clearly has another plan in mind. With a sly smile, he says, "You don't get to dictate the rules. If you won't let us search, could there be something fishy going on?" The moment Chu Shang hears this, he becomes furious and steps forward, ready to fight. But one of the servants quickly stops him and says, "Fourth young master! Don't be impulsive. This is Shangmeng Mountain. Just let them search. We haven't played any tricks anyway." Realizing the situation, Chu Shang suppresses his anger and says coldly, "Fine. Let them search." As soon as the bandits receive permission, they begin thoroughly searching the entire caravan, determined to find something suspicious. After a while, one of the bandits approaches Chief Feng and whispers something in his ear. Hearing this, Chief Feng slowly starts to smile. "And you said there was nothing fishy. Your goods are worth 6,000 taels, so the toll fee should be 600 taels." The moment Chu Shang hears this, he immediately explodes in anger. "You're clearly picking a fight on purpose. What do a bunch of bandits know about prices? If you can sell these goods for 6,000 taels, then you can take all of them." Standing beside him, one of the servants turns pale and thinks nervously, "Oh no. Fourth young master is far too reckless. We could have just paid an extra 200 taels to buy peace. Why provoke them like this?" At the same time, Chief Feng also shouts angrily, "You little brat! You're courting death. Do you think your grandfather here needs you to teach him how to do business?" He raises his massive sword and declares coldly, "Very well then. Today the goods stay, and the people will stay too." Hearing this, Chu Shang turns toward a man beside him. "Uncle Lin, I'll leave this to you." Upon hearing this, Uncle Lin calmly steps forward. He dismounts from his horse and walks toward Chief Feng. Then he brings his fists together respectfully and says, "Making things convenient for others makes things convenient for oneself. I advise everyone to let us pass. Otherwise, blades and swords have no eyes, and by the time you regret it, it will already be too late." When Chu Shang hears Uncle Lin speak so confidently, a satisfied smile appears on his face. He turns to the frightened servants and proudly says, "Did you see that? This is what Uncle Lin calls the demeanor of a true expert." Then he scoffs. "Why should our Chu family bow down to a group of bandits? If they don't follow the rules, we won't act like cowards either. My second brother even paid silver after winning a fight. Truly cowardly." Meanwhile, the servants standing nearby are still extremely nervous. Inside their hearts they think, this is the territory of the Shangmeng Mountain bandits. Even if we escape safely this time thanks to Lin Qian, what about next time? Lin Qian isn't invincible. Fourth young master is far too arrogant, calling second young master a coward. Clearly, the second young master's approach of using both grace and strength is far wiser. At this moment, Uncle Lin stands calmly with a confident expression, believing he can easily defeat these bandits. But suddenly, a powerful presence appears. To everyone's shock, Boss Han arrives. He walks forward slowly, dragging his massive blade across the ground. Sparks scrape against the dirt as the blade leaves a deep trail behind him. His eyes glow red with killing intent. With absolute confidence, he declares, "Well said. Blades and swords truly have no eyes." Then he smiles coldly. "So if you die here today, don't blame me for being ruthless." This part begins with Boss Han stepping forward to fight. The moment Uncle Lin sees him, he is completely shocked. His eyes widen as he thinks to himself, "Oh no! There is actually someone in the blood condensation realm among these bandits, even approaching the Xiantian stage." Just as Uncle Lin is about to say something, Boss Han suddenly charges at him. With a swift swing of his sword, he easily cuts off the leg of Uncle Lin's horse. Seeing this, Uncle Lin is completely stunned, because the skill Boss Han is using is actually a military combat skill. Without wasting any time, Boss Han attacks again and says, "Military my ass! I hate the Imperial Court the most." To block the attack, Uncle Lin quickly draws his sword from its sheath and holds it in front of him. But the moment his sword collides with Boss Han's large blade, his sword begins to crack and split. Somehow, he manages to block the attack and slides backward. However, Boss Han immediately charges forward again. Uncle Lin has barely regained his balance when a sinister smile appears on Boss Han's face. The moment Uncle Lin sees that smile, he becomes even more shocked. In the next instant, Boss Han swings his sword again, cutting Uncle Lin's sword in half and slicing off his arm at the same time. Severely injured, Uncle Lin collapses onto the ground right in front of him. When Chu Shang witnesses this terrifying scene with his own eyes, he becomes extremely frightened. His heart starts racing with panic, and he thinks, "Phew! If the steward dies, so be it, as long as I am fine." Meanwhile, Boss Han walks toward the remaining people and says, "They just died like this." At this point, Chu Shang is completely terrified. He quickly shouts, "Good heroes, please hold your hands. I am from the Chu family of Tongzhou Prefecture." Standing beside him, his servant thinks to himself, "In Shangmeng Mountain, bringing up the Chu family is utterly useless." But Boss Han says, "All right then, I will give the Chu family some face and spare your life. Go back and deliver a message. Kill all the stewards. Leave the goods. The rest of you go back and deliver a message." Breaking the rules of Shangmeng Mountain results in this outcome. At that very moment, another attack lands on the servant standing beside Chu Shang, and he is ruthlessly killed. When Chu Shang sees this, he becomes even more terrified and thinks again, "Phew! If the steward dies, so be it, as long as I am fine." But before he can react to anything else, Boss Han grabs him by the collar. Chu Shang is now completely terrified. Then Boss Han throws him off his horse onto the ground. Trembling in fear, Chu Shang asks what he plans to do with him. Without hesitation, Boss Han kicks directly at his knees and says, "I only said I wouldn't kill you, but I never said I wouldn't cripple your limbs. Hope you reincarnate better in your next life." 3 days later, Chu Xiu is training in his courtyard. Manhwa is watching him practice and then says, "Young Master Chu, where did you obtain such a wicked blade technique? It is truly extremely wicked, definitely not a technique of the righteous path." Chu Xiu calmly replies, "Martial arts were originally meant for killing anyway. Who cares if it is righteous or wicked, as long as it can kill?" Hearing this, Manhwa smiles and thinks to himself, "Chu Xiu's strength has improved far too quickly. I remember the first time I saw him, he could only wound the unranked Lian Laosan. It has only been 2 months, yet I am completely no longer his match. Truly terrifying." At that moment, a servant rushes in and reports, "Young master, the 4th young master has been carried back completely crippled. Lin Qian and several caravan stewards are also dead." Chu Xiu calmly says, "My dear father must be quite heartbroken right now, no? Let's go and take a look." After that, the scene shifts to the family hall. The family head is sitting there while Chu Shang is brought in on a stretcher. His condition is extremely terrible, and he is screaming in pain. Meanwhile, Chu Xiu is sitting calmly at the side, enjoying his tea. Then the granduncle says, "Family head Chu, your noble son's limbs are shattered, and with the delay of several days I am afraid he will be bedridden for the rest of his life." The family head is extremely furious, but he still manages to control his anger. Then Chu Xiu's stepbrother says, "Second brother, 4th brother has been reduced to such a state, and you still have the mood to drink tea? Could it be that you are happy?" Chu Xiu lowers his teacup and replies, "Me happy? I am on the verge of crying right now, but will shedding a few tears make 4th brother better?" He then stands up and says to the family head, "Father, now is not the time to cry. If this matter is not handled well, not only 4th brother, but our entire Chu family might end up crying together." His father replies, "Tell me your thoughts." Chu Xiu says, "We have already forged a deep blood feud with the bandits this time. But moving forward, do we fight them or not? If we fight, we must make full preparations. After all, the other side could easily kill Lin Qian. If we do not fight, how will the caravan pass through Shangmeng Mountain next? Whether we should take a detour still requires father's final decision." Hearing this, his father begins to think, "If we really fight, the Chu family has very few martial artists who can actually fight besides me, and the bandit leader's strength is also unknown. It would not be wise." Then another son says, "Father, it is better to discuss this matter at length. Even the government troops cannot do anything about those bandits." Another son adds, "Eldest brother is right. It is better to be cautious in this matter. Besides, 4th brother was also too reckless this time. For a mere 200 taels, it even cost the life of a blood condensation realm expert of our Chu family." The 3 of them agree together. Then Chu Shang's mother says, "Master, please think twice. Be extremely cautious." Standing there, Chu Xiu silently observes the entire situation and smiles inwardly. With the Chu family acting like this, it is truly not easy for them to have persisted until now. Everyone is only considering their own interests. Not a single person is thinking for the Chu family as a whole. At that moment, Chu Shang's mother, with tears in her eyes, says, "Master, you must seek justice for Shang'er." But the family head angrily says, "Shut up. Do you think I don't want to? But for Shang'er, can we gamble the entire Chu family? Besides, I told him to be careful before he left, yet he was so reckless." The granduncle then says, "Family head, it is truly unwise to seek revenge at this time. When standing under low eaves, one has no choice but to bow their head. If we detour around Shangmang Mountain, the caravan's losses will be huge." The family head nods. Eldest uncle is right. Then we shall temporarily spare those bandits this once. However, who should lead the caravan next time? Hearing this, his other sons become nervous and quickly look away in fear. Chu Xiu thinks to himself, the other side doesn't put the Chu family in their eyes at all. Whoever goes will be out of luck. Then the grand uncle looks at Chu Xiu and says, "Among the brothers, only you, Chu Xiu, are bold and meticulous with the strongest capabilities. Why don't you go to Shangmeng Mountain once more?" Chu Xiu thinks, "Humph. You only think of me when there's danger?" The family head then says, "Chu Xiu, since your eldest uncle has said so, then you should go." Chu Xiu asks, "May I ask, father, does our Chu family still have rules?" His father replies, "What kind of words are these?" "Of course we do." Then Chu Xiu says, "Since we have rules, then things cannot be handled like this. The caravan's profits doubled in my hands, but with a single word from father, I gave it to fourth brother. Now that he has messed it up, you are asking me to go again. Whose caravan is it anyway?" With everything being so muddled, this child refuses to accept it. Hearing this, his stepmother and stepbrother are completely shocked. She thinks, to think that the first person in the Chu family to dare disobey Chu Zongguang's orders is Chu Xiu. Has he gone mad? Meanwhile, the family head is extremely furious inside. Damn it! To actually dare to disobey me. Watch how I strip away your authority and make you kneel in the ancestral hall. However, other than Chu Xiu, it seems no one else can go. Then Chu Shang's mother says, "Shang'er and the others have already been injured to this extent, yet you still want to take away the caravan." Chu Xiu coldly replies, "What does his injury have to do with me?" Then his father finally says, "Carry Shang'er out so he can recover properly. From now on, he will no longer need to involve himself in any of the Chu family's businesses. From now on, the caravan will be handed over to your management, and no one will be able to take it away. Go to the accounting room to take the silver. Spend the money as you see fit, but do not let our Chu family suffer too great a loss." Chu Xiu replies, "Rest assured, father. I will go handle it right away. I will absolutely not let our Chu family suffer any losses." Some time later, Chu Xiu arrives at another place and says to a man, "Per my father's instructions, fetch 10,000 taels of silver." The man replies, "Right away." After taking the money, Chu Xiu thinks to himself, "I originally thought the enemies were those three idiots, but now it seems Chu Zongguang is the greatest enemy. If he does not agree, I will absolutely not be able to become the heir. But as long as I kill or cripple Chu Kai and those other two, the heir can only be me. With these 10,000 taels, my cooperation with Boss Han will be even more pleasant. An opportunity will come sooner or later." 1 month later, a heavy silence hung in the air as the truth finally surfaced. "I miscalculated," he said with a grim expression. "Chu Shirao, the one we spent a fortune to win over, has now become completely uncontrollable. If I had known this would happen, I should have secured him as well. Now, his threat has even surpassed Chu Kai's." "Exactly," another voice agreed coldly. "Chu Shirao's capabilities far exceed Chu Kai's, and right now, he stands in the spotlight. So what should we do?" He exhaled slowly, his eyes darkening. "There is no better option. The master despises internal strife above all else. If we want to deal with Chu Shirao, it must be done from the outside. Therefore, I plan to seek out your maternal grandfather, Ding Kaishan." "That's right," she muttered, suddenly realizing. "How could I forget grandfather? He stands at the peak of the blood condensation realm. He has run his martial arts hall for over a decade, and his disciples are spread across the 3 great families. He will definitely have a solution." Kaishan Martial Arts Hall. Inside the grand hall, the master himself, Ding Kaishan, sat calmly. "Daughter," he said with a disappointed sigh, I told you long ago how wonderful it would have been if you had married Chun Fan, the illegitimate son of the Qin family in Ludong Prefecture. He was accepted by an elder of the Kanglan Sword sect, a great power in Wen Commandery. He has already surpassed the Xiantian realm and reached the third stage of Qi control. His tone turned sharper. Yet you insisted on marrying Chu Zhongyuan. And after more than 20 years, he is still stuck in the Xiantian realm. Father, she replied, suppressing her frustration. I came here to ask for your help. What is the point of bringing this up now? If Xinger inherits the Chu family, she continued, your martial arts hall will prosper alongside it, will it not? Ding Kaishan waved his hand dismissively. Forget it. Chu Zhongyuan is only in his 50s. I will not live to see that day. He leaned forward slightly, his eyes gleaming. However, I heard from my disciples that a wealthy merchant from the state of Yan intends to negotiate a major deal with the family caravan. They wish to purchase ore from the Nanshan mining area, and they have already paid a deposit. Damn it, she clenched her fists. How does Chu Xiao always end up with all the good fortune? Ding Kaishan smirked faintly. This may not necessarily be a blessing. If Chu Xiao cannot deliver the ore, the caravan's reputation will be destroyed, and Xinger will have his chance. She hesitated. The ore from the Nanshan mining area is indeed under my control, but I plan to withhold it. If it disrupts the family's business, Chu Zhongliang will not let me off lightly. Daughter, he said calmly, almost mockingly, stop fixating on the Chu family's small domain. Broaden your vision. Who told you to withhold it? He leaned back, voice steady. If you sell it elsewhere first, would that not achieve the best of both worlds? That ore is worth tens of thousands of taels, she replied nervously. Who could possibly buy it all at once? And the price cannot be too low, or Chu Zhongliang will never agree. There is no need to lower the price, Ding Kaishan said confidently. I will have the Li family purchase this ore. There will be profit, and Chu Zhongliang will have nothing to say. The Li family? She exclaimed. Absolutely not. They are mortal enemies of the Chu family. No one would agree to this. He scoffed. If you fear wolves ahead and tigers behind, how will you ever achieve anything? Then he added calmly, do not worry. Sell the ore to me first. I will resell it. He narrowed his eyes. How much ore can you produce in a month? She hesitated. Roughly 50,000 caddies. Good, he said. Tomorrow, have someone deliver it. The price will certainly exceed 50,000 taels. The old man smiled deeply, satisfaction hidden behind his calm expression. In his heart, he mocked her naivety. To him, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to reap enormous profit. The next day. Hall Master Ding, the ore has arrived. How many caddies? He asked. 57,000. Change it, he said instantly. Reduce it to 52,000. Hall Master Ding, the servant panicked. That is 5,000 caddies less. I will have no way to explain this when I return. Ding Kaishan's gaze turned cold. Do you know who I am? He said slowly. Who would dare make you explain anything? He waved his hand dismissively. Just adjust the accounts slightly. And remember, say nothing unnecessary when you return. Understood. The Li family. Soon after, Ding Kaishan arrived to meet the third young master of the Li family, Li Xiao. After the old patriarch's passing, Ding Kaishan said with a flattering smile, although your Li family lacks Xiantian martial artists, under the leadership of the three young masters, it continues to flourish. Li Xiao smiled faintly. Hall Master Ding flatters us. What brings you here today? Are you aware of Chu Xiao, the second son of the Chu family? Li Zhao's expression darkened instantly. That bastard humiliated my subordinate Li Jing in Yuanan town, and even killed members of our family. This debt will be repaid sooner or later. Such a thing truly happened? Ding Kaishan said, pretending surprise. My visit today is precisely because of him. He leaned in and explained everything. Do you want this batch of ore? He finally asked. Li Xiao nodded without hesitation. The Li family happens to be in need of refined ore. For 55,000 caddies. I will offer 70,000 taels. As for the Chu family, I do not fear them. Then it is settled, Ding Kaishan said. To avoid complications, collect it within 2 days. As he left, he smiled greedily. 70,000 taels. I will give 55,000 to the Chu family. My daughter can account for it, and I will still make a massive profit. Hidden danger. I just saw Ding Kai-shan. Li Qing, the eldest young master, said coldly. What business does that old fox have here? That man never acts without profit. Li Yin added. Dealing with him will bring no advantage. Li Xiao smiled confidently. This time, he brought us benefits. He explained the entire deal. But Li Qing's face turned serious. Third brother, you acted too rashly. Without father, our Li family has remained safe only because of the Qin family's internal conflict and the Chu family head's focus on cultivation. If the Chu family discovers this, we will be in grave danger. Relax, elder brother. Li Xiao replied dismissively. Old man Ding is helping his grandson seize power. Someone inside the Chu family is covering for us. Li Qing sighed. Still, caution is better. Tomorrow, he ordered, personally lead a team to deliver the ore to Qingyuan town and have it forged into weapons. Li Xiao waved him off. You worry too much. What could possibly go wrong? The truth explodes. The next day. Second young master. Something terrible has happened. What is it? Chu Xiao asked coldly. A batch of ore that had already received a deposit has been secretly sold by someone within the family. Speak clearly. Yes, the ore meant for a noble family from the state of Yan was sold by the second madam to her father, Ding Kai-shan. Chu Zhao's eyes narrowed. If we cannot supply new ore, the caravan will lose its trade in Qingyuan town. The servant continued nervously. And Ding Kai-shan has already resold the ore to the Li family. Early this morning, the Li family's third young master took men to retrieve it. The Li family. Chu Xiao muttered coldly. Very well. He turned sharply. Manhwa, gather the men. We are heading to Kai-shan Martial Arts Hall. Understood. Clash at Kai-shan Hall. The courtyard trembled as Chu Xiao arrived. Taking my goods, and thinking you can walk away so easily? He said coldly. Third young master Li, are you not being far too naive? Li Xiao stepped forward, anger blazing. Chu Xiao. Your arrogance knows no bounds. I purchased this ore from Hall Master Ding. What does it have to do with you? Chu Zhao's gaze turned icy. Li Xiao, there are matters you should not interfere in. Are you truly willing to become my enemy over this batch of ore? Li Xiao sneered. Become your enemy? That already happened long ago. In Yuananao town, you killed my subordinate and humiliated me. Have you forgotten? Chu Xiao said calmly. Li Jing? I truly have forgotten. They were nothing more than unruly servants. Then his voice dropped, deadly cold. I will ask you one last time. Will you hand over this batch of ore, or not? I will not! Li Xiao shouted. What can you do about it? The battle begins. Without giving him even a moment to react, Chu Xiao moved. His strike exploded like thunder. The sheer force sent Li Xiao staggering backward, his face filled with shock. How can his strength be this overwhelming? And to attack over such a small matter, has he gone mad? Chu Zhao's blade sliced through the air, carving icy arcs of light. Each strike carried suffocating killing intent. A devastating slash shattered Li Zhao's defenses instantly. His weapon flew from his grasp. He stood frozen, eyes wide with terror. Chu Xiao stepped forward slowly, his gaze colder than frost. Then, with a roar filled with murderous intent, he raised his sword and swung it down. Go to hell. The clash at Kai-shan Martial Arts Hall. Old man Ding Kai-shan surged forward like a savage beast unleashed, his presence exploding with pressure as his voice roared through the air. Audacious! In that same instant, as fast as lightning, Chu Xiao struck. The force of his attack was brutal and overwhelming. Ding Kai-shan raised his gold-splitting hand with difficulty, barely managing to block the blow. The impact shook his entire body as he bellowed in fury. You dare to injure people right before my Kai-shan Martial Arts Hall? Do you hold no respect for me at all? Chu Xiao slowly withdrew his blade, his movements calm yet deadly. Hall Master Ding, he said coldly. You've certainly gone to great lengths, for that grandson of yours. His sharp gaze locked onto Ding Kai-shan as he silently assessed him. This Ding Kai-shan has lingered in the blood condensation realm for many years. He is likely already at its peak. Killing him won't be easy. It will take effort. Without another word, Chu Shirao turned away. As he walked off, his voice echoed like ice cutting through the air. But as an outsider meddling in the Chu family's affairs, your end will not be a good one. Doubts and speculation. A disciple from the martial hall stepped forward, confusion written all over his face. Hall Master Ding, what kind of technique is Chu Shirao using? Why is it so sinister and strange? If you hadn't stepped in, I might have been seriously injured. Ding Kaishan frowned deeply, his brows tightening as he pondered. I cannot tell, he admitted slowly. But it is certainly not from the Chu family. Its aura is dark and twisted, definitely not an orthodox martial art. A calculated retreat. Outside, Chieftain Ma asked curiously. Young Master Chu, why didn't you fight that old fossil? He must be 60 or 70 by now, right? His chi and blood should have declined long ago. You could have split him in two with a single strike. Chu Shirao answered calmly, his tone steady. Don't underestimate Ding Kaishan. He hasn't fought life and death battles in recent years, so his chi and blood haven't deteriorated much. He glanced back briefly. Besides, there were too many people in the martial hall. We wouldn't have had the advantage. Then his eyes turned cold. I'll deal with Ding Kaishan myself later. He continued walking. You all head back first. I'm going to the Chu family. A dangerous chill crept into his voice. Chu Xing and his mother repay kindness with betrayal. I will make them pay a heavy price. The Chu family assembly. The scene shifted to the Chu family's main hall. A tense and oppressive atmosphere filled the room. Chu Zhongliang sat firmly at the head seat, his authority dominating the entire hall. Chu Shirao stepped forward, cupping his hands. Father! Elders! This is the situation. Our Chu family endured the Li family's suppression to establish ourselves in Tongzhou Prefecture. Selling or to the Li family is no different from forgetting our roots. Chu Zhongliang turned his gaze toward the second madam. Did you truly do this? She immediately put on a pitiful expression. Of course not. Others may doubt me, but surely you trust me, master? She continued smoothly. It is true I sold that batch of ore, but I sold it to my father. Chu Zhongliang's voice deepened. Then how did the ore end up in the Li family's hands? Without hesitation, she explained. My father's martial hall needed weapons. Because I am part of the Chu family, the Li family refused to forge them. So my father had no choice but to sell the ore to the Li family in exchange for cooperation. Then she produced a stack of banknotes, smiling faintly. I would never let the Chu family suffer losses. Here are 55,000 taels for 52,000 caddies of ore, 3,000 taels above market price. She lifted her chin slightly. This not only brings profit, but also saves a trip to the state of Yen. Isn't that a good thing? And besides, when the Chu family first settled in Tongzhou Prefecture, my father contributed greatly. Even if there is no merit, there is still hard work, right? A hollow judgment. Seeing the silver, Chu Zhongliang fell into thought. The Chu family did not lose this time, and she is right. Ding Kaishan did contribute back then. He accepted the money. Do not think I am unaware of your schemes. He warned lightly. If you deal with the Li family again, I will not let you off. Then he waved his hand. This matter ends here. Chu Shirao, there is no need for you to pursue it further. All of you, dismissed. A son's realization. Chu Shirao stood there silently, staring at his father with cold, unreadable eyes. At that moment, he understood. In his father's heart, stood above all else. Justice, and even blood ties, came only after. A new decision. Outside, Chieftain Ma asked anxiously. Young Master Chu, did you severely punish that mother and son? Chu Shirao replied with a single word. No. Chieftain Ma frowned. Your father just ignores something like this? What is he even thinking? Chu Shirao's voice turned thoughtful yet cold. Whatever he thinks, this matter is far from over. He turned sharply. Prepare the men. I'm going after Li Jiao. This time, we handle it ourselves. His eyes gleamed with cold ambition. I will force the Chu family's hand, and make them see clearly who is the most suitable heir. A new pawn. Chieftain Ma hesitated. Should we call Boss Han for help? Chu Shirao shook his head, a faint smile forming. No need. Li Jiao has reminded me of someone, far more suitable. Someone who can help me wipe out the Li family entirely. The trap is set. On a quiet street corner, Li Jing sat alone, sipping tea, resentment burning inside him. I finally earned third young Master Li's favor, yet Chu Shirao destroyed everything. Suddenly, an arm dropped over his shoulder. Chieftain Ma. Li Jing, he said casually. My young master invites you. Keep your voice down. All right. Temptation and betrayal. Inside the room, Li Jing froze when he saw Chu Shirao calmly drinking tea. Chu Shirao, it's you. Chu Shirao gestured for him to sit. Do you hate me right now? Li Jing trembled. What is he planning? He wouldn't kill me, right? Seeing through him completely, Chu Shirao laid out his bait. This is the Chu family's secret technique, barbarian bull might. It tempers muscles, bones, qi, and blood, allowing entry into the martial Dao. He placed items on the table. 10 portions of Buki powder. With your allowance in the Li family, you could only afford 1 per year. 3 blood condensation pills. Things you couldn't obtain, even with money. Li Jing's eyes locked onto them. Young master, what do you want? Chu Shirao answered calmly. I want Li Jiao's route for his next business trip. And the strength of his escort. The more detailed, the better. You will inform me 1 day before he departs. Cold sweat ran down Li Jing's back. He hesitated. Chu Shirao suddenly slammed his blade onto the table. Clang. No hesitation, he said coldly. There is only one chance, and only one choice. Human greed. Li Jing laughed, clutching the pills and manual. His body trembled. Not from fear, but from greed. Chieftain Ma asked curiously, Young Master Chu, how can you be sure he'll comply? What if he reports this? Chu Shirao smiled faintly. Human ambition is a terrifying thing. Li Jing is not someone who wants to live in another man's shadow. I simply gave him a reason to betray the Li family. Chieftain Ma laughed. The human heart really is complicated. Back when I was just a cowherd, my greatest wish was simply to eat beef. Who knew those soldiers would kill my ox, forcing me into the wilderness and turning me into a bandit? Storm before the battle. At the Li family estate. Third brother, I heard you fought Chu Shirao, and lost? Yes, Li Jiao admitted grimly. He's strange. Only at the peak of body tempering, yet terrifyingly strong. His blade is fierce, bizarre, and I feel he hasn't even used his full power. The family head spoke firmly. When you head to the state of Yen tomorrow, take Uncle Zhong with you. He is nearing great completion in the blood condensation realm. It will be safer. Ambush in the forest. The next day, the Li family convoy entered a desolate forest. Ancient trees loomed overhead. Relax, Steward Li Zhong said confidently. With me here, nothing will happen. But suddenly, a figure appeared, blocking the road. Chu Shirao. Third young Master Li, he said mockingly. Planning to leave after taking what belongs to me? Chu Shirao, Li Jiao shouted in shock. But seeing Chu Shirao had only a few men, he sneered. Chu Zhongliang has already settled this matter and warned you not to cause trouble. Yet here you are. Are you courting death? Chu Shirao's eyes burned with killing intent. He drew his blade. Chu Zhongliang may have let it go. But I will not. War erupts. Attack! Li Jiao roared. A brutal melee exploded in the forest. Kill! Wipe them out! Chieftain Ma charged forward, shouting, Brothers! We've eaten under young Master Chu for long enough. Time to repay him. Show him how cleanly we can kill. The final confrontation begins. Chu Shirao descended like a phantom from the heavens. His blade fell like judgment upon Li Jiao. Leave your lives behind. At that moment, Steward Li Zhong stepped forward. He raised his weapon and blocked the strike head-on. Your opponent is me. The battle deepens. The opponent unleashed a powerful strike. The force was overwhelming. Chu Shao was sent flying backward, his body crashing through the air before he steadied himself. His eyes narrowed as he secretly assessed. Such strength. The blood condensation realm truly cannot be underestimated. Li Zhong stepped forward calmly, his tone carrying persuasion rather than hostility. Young Master Chu, I understand family head Chu's character. He definitely does not know about your actions today. If you retreat now, I can pretend none of this ever happened. At the same time, Ma Ke, Chu Shao said coldly. The third young master of the Li family is yours. Ma Ke grinned, slowly drawing his blade as he walked toward Li Xiao. He, understood, young master. Leave it to me. Clash of realms. Chu Xiao charged forward again. Li Zhong swung his iron staff, blocking the incoming blade with precision. Then, with arrogance, the old monk lectured. The gap between the body-tempering realm and the blood condensation realm lies from the inside out. Even if your strength surpasses other body-tempering martial artists, it is useless if you cannot condense your qi and blood. Another strike. Chu Xiao was forced back once more. Li Zhong leaped high into the air and brought his staff crashing down with immense force. But Chu Xiao remained calm. His eyes tracked every movement. Countless staff shadows surrounded him, yet he parried them all with flawless precision. This is no ordinary martial art. A heavy smash landed. Chu Xiao was sent crashing into a massive tree, splintering the trunk behind him. He steadied himself and spoke coldly. Tiger taming demon subduing staff. To think you, stewardly, came from the Great Illumination Temple, one of the northern and southern Buddhist sects. His gaze sharpened. Why would someone like you become a servant in the Li family? Li Zhong replied calmly. In the past, I was nothing more than a fire-tending monk at the Great Illumination Temple, not even worthy of a Dharma name. He raised his staff again. Now that you know my origins, will you still persist so stubbornly? Chu Zhao's lips curled slightly. Persist? A mere staff technique is not enough to frighten me. Evenly matched. The two clashed again. The sound of metal colliding echoed endlessly through the forest. They fought for every inch. Neither side gave ground. But deep inside, Li Zhong began to feel unease. This Chu Xiao, his technique is sinister and bizarre to the extreme. One moment of carelessness, and the consequences will be unimaginable. Li Zhao's desperation. Elsewhere, Li Xiao was already on the verge of collapse. He struggled desperately, but he was completely overwhelmed. Ma Ke laughed as his blade flashed. A slash cut toward Li Dao's right arm. Hee hee, brat, leave your life behind. Finding the opening. Back in the main battle, Chu Xiao kept moving, constantly searching for an opening. Li Zhong pressed forward relentlessly. His staff struck again and again, each blow carrying the crushing force of the blood condensation realm. One strike shattered the ground. Debris exploded outward. A massive crater appeared where Chu Xiao had just been standing. But in that instant, Chu Xiao leaped high into the air. His blade flashed downward. He had found it. The opening. The strike aimed directly at the hand holding the staff. Li Zhong reacted instantly. He released the staff. His right hand clenched into a fist. And in the same moment, his fist slammed directly into Chu Xiao's chest. At the same time, Chu Xiao's blade completed its arc. A deep cut tore across Li Zhong's neck. The fall of a master. The old monk froze. Shock filled his eyes. Then, he collapsed. Dead. Aftermath. Chu Xiao stood beside the corpse, breathing heavily. He let out a slow breath. This battle had drained him greatly. He looked down at his trembling hand. Several bones are probably already broken. I thought he was just an ordinary martial artist. Who would have thought he was a disciple of the Great Illumination Temple? He exhaled again. Fortunately, he switched from defense to offense at the last moment. Otherwise, this would not have ended so easily. His gaze sharpened. After this battle, I am no longer far from the blood condensation realm. Victory secured. Moments later, Ma Ke dragged Li Xiao over like a broken dog. His face was filled with shock. A monk from the Great Illumination Temple, killed by you, young Master Chu. That's unbelievable. Chu Xiao glanced at him. You've seen monks from the Great Illumination Temple before? Ma Ke nodded, tossing Li Xiao to the ground. The northern and southern Buddhist sects, who hasn't heard of them? And the Great Illumination Temple isn't far from our 36 giant bandits. Even Great Chieftain Peng said, they must never be provoked. He looked at the corpse. But this one didn't even have precept scars, so he probably wasn't an official monk. A desperate plea. Li Xiao knelt on the ground. His body trembled. Young Master Chu Xiao. I've lost. Spare me this once. I'll give you anything you want. Chu Xiao slowly raised his blade. To remain calm even now. Li Xiao, you are indeed someone noteworthy. He paused. Then his voice turned cold. What a pity. What I want is the entire Li family. And that you cannot give. His eyes turned merciless. One wrong thought, and everything is lost. Third young Master Li, have a safe journey. Li Zhao's face twisted in terror. You! The blade fell. A declaration of war. Chu Xiao turned away without another glance. Gather all the iron ore and goods, he ordered calmly. We return to the city, Ma Ke asked cautiously. Should we hide the bodies? Chu Xiao shook his head. No. I want them to be seen. A clear declaration of war to the Li family. Rage of the Li family. Inside the Li family estate. The atmosphere was suffocating. The corpses of Li Xiao and Li Zhong lay before them. Rage exploded. Who did this? Who? It was Chu Xiao. Someone answered grimly. He was seen returning with a large amount of goods, and those carts bore our Li family's mark. But Uncle Zhong was there. Another muttered in disbelief. He was a martial artist from the Great Illumination Temple. Where are you going? Someone shouted. To the Chu family, came the furious reply. To demand justice. Second brother, calm down. Another voice interrupted. What justice can you demand? Would Chu Zhongliang kill his own son? He continued grimly. Without Uncle Zhong. I am more worried about our other enemies making a move. Then what do we do? Wait. Wait for news from the Chu family. If they dare act, then even if we must spend our entire fortune to hire help, we will cripple the Chu family. Storm inside the Chu family. Meanwhile, the Chu family hall was equally tense. Chu Zhongliang slammed the table in fury. This rebellious son! Call Chu Xiao here immediately. He rubbed his temples, anger and frustration mixing together. I already declared this matter over, yet he still acted. Of all my sons, Xiao Er is the most obedient, yet he is crippled. And this Chu Xiao causes nothing but trouble. Father and son. Chu Xiao walked in calmly. Chu Xiao! Chu Zhongliang roared. Do you still regard me as your father? What did I tell you before? Chu Xiao bowed slightly. Father, please forgive me. Opportunity does not wait for anyone, so I could not report in time. He continued calmly. However, this time, I not only reclaimed the Li family's ore, but also seized a large batch of goods. I am willing to hand everything over to the family. An elder nearby silently evaluated. His handling of this matter was actually quite proper. But the eldest young master sneered. Second brother, I don't mean to criticize you, but Tongzhou Prefecture is small. Our Chu family is not the strongest. Pull one hair, and the whole body moves. You are far too reckless. Chu Xiao looked at him coldly. Then what do you suggest? Should I return everything? Or repay Li Zhao's life, with my own? You, enough! Chu Zhongliang shouted, cutting them off. This will be an exception. But next time, you will report to me or Steward Qin first. Chu Xiao lowered his head. I will obey father's teachings. A half-truth. Chu Zhongliang narrowed his eyes. How did you kill Li Zhong? Chu Xiao answered calmly. Although Li Zhong was in the blood condensation realm, he was already old. My subordinate captured Li Xiao in a sneak attack, which affected his mental state. That is how I managed to kill him. Chu Zhongliang nodded slowly. Very well. This matter ends here. Dismiss. Ambition ignored. But Chu Xiao spoke again. Father, with Li Zhong dead, the Li family's morale is shaken. This is the perfect opportunity to attack. You need not act personally. Just hand over the guest elders to me. I guarantee I can take down the Li family within 3 days. The elders murmured in agreement. This is feasible. A rare opportunity. But Chu Zhongliang's expression darkened. Stop thinking about causing trouble. Annihilating a family is not so simple. Without my permission, no one is to act against the Li family. Dismiss. Hidden motives. After everyone left, Chu Zhongliang spoke quietly to an elder. Old Qin, I understand your thoughts. If I wanted to destroy the Li family, I could have done so long ago. But the research on that thing has reached a critical stage. I cannot risk any accidents. A dangerous discovery. Outside, a subordinate hurried over. Young master, you're back. For those 57,000 caddies of ore, should we complete the transaction first, then split the money with the Chu family? Chu Xiao nodded casually. Handle it. Then. He suddenly stopped. Wait, how much or did you say there was? 57,000 caddies. A dangerous smile slowly formed on Chu Xiao's lips. Back then, Second Madam said she gave Ding Kaishan 52,000 caddies, but now, 57,000 have appeared. His eyes turned cold. And she still dares to claim she wasn't betraying us. Second Madam. His voice was barely above a whisper. I'd like to see what you say this time.